Do this. I'm so hype. Rocks brings the hype. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 officially of the Baroque Works broadcast. You said you thought it was episode dos. I like to do a pilot, which I count as episode 0. So this is to me officially episode number 1, but technically it is the second one overall. And we got some topics for you guys. We are going to start with more current events and recent chapters and things of that nature, and then we'll transition into more general topics. The main reason I made this podcast was so I can talk about all things One Piece, not just recent events, but the recent events though. So we got to talk about the recent events. And I thought since there's no One Piece this week, this was a good week to do it. So yeah, I'm here with Straw Hat Pat. Say hi to the people.
Lady Oil. Young lady.
And my boy Haku of the Tubes in the building.
Heyo everybody, Haku here. I'm really excited to talk about One Piece this week. I really wanted an excuse to just yap about One Piece.
And I think for us two, that's an important thing to say, just because I know we've been a little bit of in a lull with the series. I don't know how you felt about Elbaf overall. I've been happy with Elbaf pretty much from start to finish, but Wano to Egghead for me was kind of rough. It wasn't until I revisited Egghead when I'm like, it's really not bad. It's just like, was it what I was looking for to some degree? And obviously one of my characters put up Tony Snow numbers. Obviously he was going through a lot of emotional turmoil. So it hurt me personally, but yeah.
You hear that, Shaq? He wavered. Me?
I
never left. Never left.
I think we did a podcast discussion on Egghead. I liked Egghead a lot. It definitely had its problems, but I really liked it. I think Elbaf could end up being like one of my favorite arcs. And that's saying something because I shit on post time skip all the time.
That's crazy. I do think this arc has potential to be one of the best ones and the ones that we really talk about the most when the series is all said and done. We'll obviously see how it ends, and execution is everything, but I've been really happy with what we've been getting. I've been really excited about it, and I'm here to talk. It's at a point where like I feel like for like the last at least 3 years and a half, I've been kind of not in the One Piece community, really. I kind of stayed in my bubble of Tower God and Kubera especially. I'm ready to come back. I know I have to deal with a lot of takes and a lot of power scaling, but I'm ready to come back. So y'all gonna be seeing me.
I feel like that's why I stay away. Anytime I'm really excited about One Piece, then I go to look at One Piece stuff. It's always the most like illiterate takes. It's always just arguing over shit that does not matter. Is not relevant.
Can I give you a recent example?
Go for it.
As soon as Zoro and Mihawk fans saw the narrator talk about Rock's swordmanship hitting like a cannonball or hammer, oh, Mihawk upscale! And I'm like, this is what you guys care about all the time, every week? Please. Are you not seeing what's happening? They're so annoying. They're so annoying.
That confuses me. Like, where's the correlation? Mihawk wasn't even a...
Right.
What?
I was going to say, people will force hate on Mihawk to hype up Shanks, force hate on Shanks to hype up Mihawk, and I'm just here forcing hate on Dragon for the love of the game.
Listen, I got some Dragon takes, so I'm with you on Dragon. I'm not a Shanks stan. I don't dislike Shanks. Mihawk, I'll just wait until I see him in action. I don't have much to say.
I'm just kind of whatever on both.
Yeah,
neither of them have done too much.
I kind of like Shamrock more.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I mean, I like that we saw Shanks with the tattoo recently. That
yes, 2 arms.
throws in some cool things.
Yes, and we could talk about all that. Is there actually anything kind of before the latest few chapters we want to get into, just like from an Elbaf standpoint? Because I do think the Scopper, Gaban, and Shanks, 2 arms, I feel like Pat and I had a conversation via text thinking that maybe when he lost his arm, he actually lost his connection to the abyss, to like travel through the abyss, I suppose. True. And now he's like freer in a sense. I don't know if you agree with that.
I was thinking maybe he even did it on purpose, because it's like, okay, this Yonko just lets random sea creature bite off his arm. Did he see Luffy eat the fruit, and then he's like, I need to ditch the arm so that they can't like force summon me back to Mariwa or anything.
But you gotta remember Haku. Shanks wasn't a Yonko back then when he met Luffy.
True,
He was
yeah.
still doing his own thing.
I mean, yeah, but he was still strong, so it's like, would a strong guy with the connection to the abyss and everything, if that's even what the tattoo is, like, would he just let some random sea creature bite off his arm? Unless he, like, let it happen?
Yeah, I agree. It definitely always felt a little bit weird. It was like, even Shanks back then should probably have been able to stop it.
So maybe he was even trying to ditch the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me think of a few things like right off the bat. I spoke about it in the latest chapters, but sorry, just remind me of I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting their names. I gotta do better. What's King Harold's Harujin's mom's name? Ida?
Ida or Ida?
Ida.
One of the two.
I really like
Ida,
her.
Ida, however you pronounce it.
I really like her.
What'd you say?
I like her a lot.
I like her too. I do too.
I'm a fan of like. I think what's been interesting that I've seen on Twitter a few times recently is like tropes that you really do like. And like I will say the kind of rough and tough woman or rough and tough like guy, bad boy who meets somebody with a kind heart and it kind of changes them for the better. Yeah. But like they keep their monstrous strength though. Like Harold is a beast.
Right. Vegeta and Bulma.
Yeah. That's a great example.
Let me just tell you, somebody I didn't expect to love like I do is Harold. I freaking love Harold. I thought when we were going into this flashback, he was just going to show up in the flashback and maybe be like a world government simp or something, and maybe we find out that Loki had to kill him because he was planning to sell out Elbaf to the world government or something. I thought we were just going to have him to show up to die. I didn't think we would get like his whole life story in the flashback, and I think Oda crushed it there. I really like Harold.
I do too. I'm with you. I didn't think I was going to like him. I wasn't convinced immediately he was a traitor, necessarily. And then when the flashback started and he was like a scumbag, I'm like, oh, here we go. Here goes this guy. And then my only, like, I guess, criticism of him is that he's a little, like, gullible / naive. I'll say naive, I guess. And he's a little neglectful of what's going on with his children. I know he's really trying to ingratiate Elbaf into the world and have them become legitimate without necessarily having to become a world government like state, if you will, or nation. But I think basically good king, neglectful dad. Like good king, neglectful dad.
I think that's fair.
And it reminds me of what happened with Aang and Korra a little bit. Like how Aang.
I just had a brain blast.
Talk to me.
I'm kind of. I was thinking like when you were talking about Harold being a father, and it clicked in my head. Because it's like pre-time skip, I felt like there was a lot of focus on like motherhood, and then now it seems like post skip now it's emphasis on fatherhood, and like
that's a good catch.
Yeah.
Because
we just went from Odin to Kuma now to Harold.
That's a good point.
Odin, Kuma, Harold. And then even like with the parallels or contrast, I should say, with Zeph and Judge for Sanji.
True.
How fatherhood impacted him.
Yeah. No.
And then Kaido not being a good... like somehow this guy ended up a Yonko, not being too good at anything, including being a father.
Kaido is the one character I'm pretty interested in seeing how the community views him in an overall standpoint when it's all said and done. I feel like he's going to be one of those characters that are going to be hard to kind of judge in a way. So we'll see. I feel like people have made up their mind with Big Mom already, so I think with her it's just she's cooked. But Kaido will be intriguing. But all right, let's get into it. I'm so excited. So we finally got the actual reveal of ROCKSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSS series, and I think that recontextualizes some older scenes and things that have happened. But off the bat, immediately, what I want to say about Rocks that I like about him is just, it's the rawness. He's completely goal driven, and he's done so many things in the 2 chapters that I've heard of that I can't believe has happened. And I just hope that like this has given me kind of like Roger circumventing the globe vibes, where we're gonna get like Xebec's kind of rise and fall. I think we're gonna continue with this for at least 2 to 3 more chapters. I know we have a lot of breaks in between, what sucks. I think a normal break, then a magazine break soon, but it is what it is. But like, even like, just the scumbaggery of him, like. This guy hit Loki with a hockey attack and started laughing like you didn't already see this kid was bloody. But testament to Loki, after falling from the realm of the sun to the realm of the dead and getting hit by a Xebec attack, he's still alive. Durable ass kid.
He ate that shit.
Yeah.
That's how we know Loki's a fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
I am totally in for. I'm so glad that Oda actually gave Rocks a really cool design.
Yes, that's
like so often we have a character hyped up and then their design is goofy in some way. I'm just glad that Rocks looks incredible. If anything, the only thing that it kind of throws me back on is now I look at Teach and I'm like, how did you end up so lame in comparison? Like, I don't even hate Teach, but I'm like, you see Rocks and it's like, you're missing what your father had.
He has a scary dominating presence because he's big and fat, but he doesn't have the like I would say like Xebec is like traditionally cool, traditionally raw. Yeah. Like just and I'm like, sometimes Oda, it's okay for you to make a character like this. I know you like to get zany and wacky and you know, over the top, and I love that about One Piece, but I'm so happy with this character he chose. Like, you know, I don't even think he's like extra tall. He's not even like he doesn't look like he's like 10 feet. He looks like normal tall, like 6'6" or something.
Yeah,
like,
he looks even like shorter than like Shiki and Whitebeard and the guys that were with him.
Yeah, and they're all pretty freaking tall. I don't remember how tall Shiki is without his 2 swords.
Yeah, I don't remember his 2 swords.
But yeah. So he's been incredible, and like, going through everything that we saw already was insane. And you have to ask yourself, like, what does he know? We know that Oda had said if Blackbeard Teach was a normal person or had a regular job, he'd be like an archaeologist, and he likes to gamble and study history. What would possess one person to climb to the top of the red line and infiltrate solo? It's almost like he knew something already and maybe needed to confirm, because that guy had the gun on his leg, just looking at Emu, bro, being like...
Yeah, I think it'll have something to do with Davy Jones. And because again, I just got back to when I was rewatching to where the Ace and Blackbeard fight is. Yep. And during that, Ace is like, oh, you've been through twice as much as everybody else. And Teach says the Yami Yami no Mi is the most evil of the devil fruits. Mm-hmm. So it's like, especially with its power set, and this isn't really like a big stretch or anything, I think most people are assuming it's some kind of secret god fruit like Luffy's, because it can pull in the physical bodies of devil fruit users, and it can cancel out devil fruit abilities, mm-hmm. which are both things that are like crazy in the world of One Piece in a general sense.
It's still, what Teach did is still extremely unprecedented, even for like the Gorosei and Elostars, and because they never seen something like this. But it seems that like his peculiar, atypical body mixed with the fact that he has a Yami Yami no Mi makes this possible. And what he's actually capable of doing is, what I'm guessing is, if you die with a devil fruit, the transfer of the devil fruit going into another like fruit nearby probably isn't immediate, and I think he can mess with that transfer, that cycle. So he can basically, let's say the devil fruit has a soul and it's gonna leave your body and go into, I don't know, a tree, and the apple will turn to a devil fruit. He can suck the soul out before it travels to wherever it needs to go, and then take the power in. Cause
maybe,
yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it right now, because I think when it's an anime only scene if I remember correctly, but I think when Smiley died on Punk Hazard, one of the baskets with like apples in it immediately started to like swirled up and turned into something, And like if it's that fast, I feel like it wouldn't be possible, but maybe it takes a little bit longer. But I think that's an anime only scene though, so it could be messing with me. I have to like
It
look
could
into that a
be
bit
too,
more.
like, when he first fights Ace, he's like, the power of darkness is a gravity that pulls things in and doesn't let things escape. So is it that this is why he needed the fruit in order to get other fruits? Maybe when somebody's dead, instead of the devil within the fruit going to another fruit, the darkness sucks it in and doesn't let it escape. Maybe.
Yeah, but no man, this also does hype up Teach in a lot of ways, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys what you thought the most impressive thing he did so far happens to be. Was it the Admiral? Was it the clash with Harold and everything within a 5 kilometer radius getting absolutely blasted away? Him becoming the boss of Hachinosu Beehive Island, I think it's called in English. Because for me, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'm not convinced he completely crumbled the gates of justice to like dust, but the fact that he broke through the gates of justice to me is crazy. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I couldn't believe it. I said, bro, do you know how many times? Well, how many times? The 2 times the gates of justice were in the way, it was a problem. If Sanji did not go do what he did during Enies Lobby, we were not escaping. But he opened the gate. If we didn't, what did they end? Oh, Whitebeard ended up freezing the ship, and then they used like I think the Hellwink plus everyone attacking it to like go over it. Like this dude just said gates in my way, busting right through it, and I said, yo, I remember how big that shit is. That's crazy. But yeah, so I was thoroughly impressed by him just going through the gates of justice like that. That's fucking wild. For me,
I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I would say it's the most impressive or not with him going to the flower room, because it's like, I would think that's the most impressive just based on knowledge, because who else have we seen that has that kind of knowledge to even know that that's there? And he knows something more because he told Emu that he'd be back.
Yeah.
So, and with him saying that he would be back, are we taking that literally as in like he's living within Blackbeard some way, or are we taking that as like one of the biggest things in One Piece is inherited will, where that's going to be Teach's inherited will, is that he's got to make it back there to where Rocks was?
That's
a great question.
So I don't know if that's the most impressive just because we don't know anybody else with that knowledge, or if it's not as impressive because it's something where if somebody else had that knowledge, maybe they could just go do it.
I think what makes it impressive is, by the way, until I see it, I'm assuming he's a hockey man. I'm not attributing any devil fruits to him until I see it, and I haven't seen it yet. So I'm not gonna say he has one. I think he's a hockey man.
I haven't seen it either. If anything, the only guess I would have is Yami Yami no Bi, just because Teach was looking for it.
But here's the thing, right? And here's what I find super interesting. Teach, we know can use hockey, and I'm at this point because I know his dad has Conquerors. I know he has Conquerors. Not that I didn't think he didn't have it. I haven't seen him use it in the anime yet. I've seen him use armament to block S sword. I think when he came to Amazon Lily. I think the first time I saw him really hockey up. He's known about hockey. He's spoken about hockey. He had commented on Luffy's hockey getting a lot better when they met at Impel Down, but he hasn't really used it. And what I find funny is he seems to believe in the power of devil fruits more than he believes in the power of hockey, where based on the presentation of what I've seen right now, Xebec seems to be like the Roger type. Like hockey, swordsmanship, plus he's willing to use his gun, whatever the case may be, and that's how he got to his level of strength. And I think it's an interesting contrast between the two. Even I remember when Lob was speaking to him, he's like, I understand that devil fruits have a side effect, but the upside is so much better. Like the pros completely outweigh the cons. Like I do not care that I sink in the sea, bro. I don't give a damn. Mama says that panel of them saying he doesn't sleep makes me wonder if Rocks does live in him and he speaks to him through his dreams. I'll always believe that Zoro and Luffy sensed something in him was off when they said them, not him.
I think in hindsight, so I kind of thought it was something different like that too when they said them, not him. But in hindsight, going back to it, there was a big deal made about Luffy and Zoro running into all the various members of his crew and being like, huh, that's kind of weird. So then when we have the stuff with Blackbeard, I think saying them, not him was to show that they put it together, that it wasn't just a string of weird, strong people. It was that these weird, strong people were all connected.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I also heard that that's a bit of a translation error, but yeah, that's how I interpreted it. Like they know that, like, oh, the Apple situation, everything, like, no, like, those are his pirates, if anything.
As far as the not sleeping, though, I kind of want to connect that in. I don't know. Can we, like, are we going to talk about Longland soon? I didn't know if I should wait for that. Because I feel like I kind of want to mention devil fruits affecting places.
No, go ahead.
Something that, for all these...
Sorry, real quick. Just for future reference, the show notes are mostly like a guideline. And especially if we get off topic, we could come back. Like, all of this is connected to us talking about the recent events. So if you want to jump ahead a little bit, you're totally okay.
Because I've been thinking about some, like, stuff for a while about, like, different islands that have been affected by Devil Fruit Awakenings. And I had, through all these years of rereading and rewatching One Piece, for some reason, I guess call me stupid, I had never put it together that the entirety of Enies Lobby takes place at night. I just always thought it took place during the day, but they said it's all, like, it was in the middle of the night, and they said Enies Lobby is always sunny, even if it's storming or even in the middle of the night. So obviously Enies Lobby is going to be important for some reveal in the future because there's a giant hole in the middle of it.
Yep.
But on top of the giant hole in the middle of it, did somebody use a sun fruit there, like Luffy's sun god fruit? Is the sun god involved? Or Ace made, like, the sun with his Entei attack. Did somebody use the Mera Nomi's awakening there to make a sun? Because for some reason it's always daylight in Enies Lobby, even at night, which I had never noticed before.
I do remember it. I do remember that being stated. I definitely haven't thought about that in a long time. And a lot of places, when strong pirates use either, like, an awakening, I guess, or strong attack, they do completely change, like, the environment and or ecosystem of it. I remember, like, something as simple as Ace just being on Drum Island, like, didn't snow. I remember. I think they said it didn't snow while he was there. You could think about Aokiji and Akainu changing Punk Hazard's entire climate to have.
Yeah, my theory for Logias has always been that we saw using a Paramecia awakening, like, turns things other than yourself into the thing that your fruit's related to.
Yeah.
I've always thought that Logia awakening changes the actual ecosystem of where it's used. And you might like me hyping up Crocodile. I didn't know if, like, maybe Crocodile was tapping into something being in Alabasta, making the entire place sandstormy the entire time, sucking all the water, because he was purposefully using sandstorms to dry it out, so there'd be less of his weakness there, and he'd be harder to get to. But we saw it with Punk Hazard. I feel like Aokiji and Akainu both used Awakening, and that's why it's, like, permanently volcanic and frozen. And then we've seen islands where the island where it's, like, lightning all the time that we saw when was it Beige first went to the New World, and then there was the one magnetic island. And I've thought too, Law's fruit is super important to the lore of One Piece with the immortality surgery and everything.
Indeed.
Kid's fruit could be important because this entire journey around the Grand Line is based on the magnetism all leading around the Grand Line to Lodestar and all ending in Lodestar.
So did somebody use picks up the magnetic field? Yeah.
So did somebody use Kid's Fruit Awakening on Lodestar at some point in the distant past, and that's what leads all of the magnetic stuff toward that direction? Or then, the reason I wanted to bring up Longland, other than the Davy Back, which you had in the notes, is ever since the Sun God Nika stuff was brought up, I was like, okay, so Longland, did somebody use the awakening there to change it? Because it's a big, long ring of an island, but also on top of that, all of the animals there are super long. And when you first get to that arc, Tanjit says that all the animals on the island are long because they live freely. And I was like, ever since Luffy's done the Gear 5th stuff, he and Bonnie and everybody just talk about how it's about living freely. So living freely made the animals stretch. So does that have something to do with the fruit?
That's interesting. Because, like, I guess what I would need to know immediately is who wielded that before. Because there's some fruits we've known the previous users of, like is Bon Clay's fruit called the Bane Bane no Mi? Or is that the spring? Mane Bane is the spring fruit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, I could say clone fruit. I think it's called clone fruit. We saw the old lady from the Kurozumi had it, and we seen one of them have the barrier fruit too. That's an interesting thought. It's hard. I've been having a hard time wrapping my head around where like some of the Nika stuff really come into play kind of pre-time skip. I have noticed a few more things, even like some symbols and symbolic stuff that looks similar to like Joy Boys or like Nika's shield, if you will, and stuff like that. That's kind of sun-like. But that's always been hard to wrap my head around. But the idea,
I thought it was.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, the idea that like, I guess my question would just be like, how long ago did that happen?
It could be as long ago as the original fight between the crew of 20 that founded the world government versus Joy Boy's crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they did make it a point to mention that the world government has been since this particular, like, forever.
For like 800 years?
Like, every time they thought they had it, always escaped. So I think that's like, maybe the will of a previous user can be left in the fruit. So that's probably why they have, like, different properties, like causing them not to be able to swim and stuff like that. Because it's like, when you take on the devil fruit, you're like harboring multiple souls in your body or something. Because like with the Nika no Mi is like the embodiment of freedom is inside. So like, of course it wouldn't want to be captured by the world government. So it makes sense evading them every single time they get close to having it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think honestly, we could be doing something with that right now with this flashback, because we had all this stuff going on and we just saw the treasure room where the fruit was being held during the Harold stuff before we went back to him being younger. So I'm thinking, could Loki just be bluffing about having the fruit and stuff? Is this where the world government got their hands on the Nika fruit, and then Shanks steals it from them and it makes its way to Luffy here, potentially? If Elbaf had it in that chest, and this is where the world government takes it.
Oh, you're because not page one. Who's who?
Yeah. Who's who?
He had it, right? And then Shanks robbed
who's
him.
Who had it.
Yes.
And if Shanks Shanks is here for this, so again, if things get stolen here while Shanks is here, Shanks could chase it down and then steal it, and then it ends up with Luffy.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Another thing that I noticed, again, just rewatching through some of this stuff, is some stuff, like, Oda hinted at the sea level rising stuff pretty well, because Longland, they said, looks like a ring of 10 islands, but it's actually one long island. Mm-hmm. It's just mostly covered in water, with the 10 peaks coming out of the water. And then, when you get to Water 7 directly after that, Water 7 isn't built on land, it's built on the rooftops of an ancient city.
Yeah. Aqua Laguna, continuously the rising tides. That's why I wasn't shocked when Vegapunk made that reveal. I thought that was obvious already. I remember he like the world was flooded. I'm like, duh. It's like, everyone was so mad at me. I'm like, I thought that was common knowledge. I guess I just didn't know.
No, but now we know that it was man-made. We didn't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But like, on that topic, right, of Longland, when I tell you this might be the longest, most patient W I might have gotten in my life, that long-term payoff, because I have been sick and tired of One Piece fans acting like the Land arc is ass and terrible, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't like how the anime did it, because the anime stretched it out and elongated it, right? So that arc to me has always been great for several reasons. One, I knew the Davy Back fight was going to be effing important, and I'm going to talk about Xebec in a second, but I've always said it also represents something in One Piece that I've always liked, from the standpoint of I had previously seen Luffy beat a warlord, a Sand Logia, and then a false god with Thunder Logia. Then came down and struggled against Foxy. Why? Was Foxy as strong as those two people? Fuck no. But Foxy had an environmental advantage. He kind of used Luffy's lack of a brain against him. Not that his brain is particularly anything special. And cheated. And as a result of all those things, he actually put up a semi-decent fight. And I've always liked that. Plus, we were introduced to an Admiral. The Robin thing starts there, yada, yada, yada. But the Davy Back fight, do you know how much sense it makes now that Whitebeard and people like that are on his ship? Because I constantly, with Whitebeard specifically, was like, you are a pirate through and through, but you know how like in Pirates of the Caribbean, they say like, he was a pirate, but he was a good man. That's how I see him. He's one of those people. Like, you're a pirate, but you're a good man. Now, I'm sure he's still pillaging and doing what he's doing and sending money back to his island, because that's just how Whitebeard is. I'm sure he was doing that the whole time, because I know he comes from a very poor island. But the fact that I'm seeing Xebec box, shoot, I think it's how with an axe, everything, just amassing a crew of demons, because I'm like, he just wants to storm the capital. I know what he wants to do. He just wants to storm Mauricio. He just wants to get the strongest, most demonic people he can and immediately just go raise hell over there and become king of the world. And I just love that the Davy Back fight has come back full circle. And just as a quick side note, because I've been talking for a second, it's interesting to me that in a way of almost forced subjugation, Xebec acquired his crew. But as much as Teach's crew is similar, that they have aligned goals and think that what Teach is doing is interesting, but they probably don't like. Though I would say Teach's crew kind of respects him a bit more. No one respects Xebec, but that's a result of you not recruiting them. You're just taking them, right? And I find the little differences between them to be extremely fascinating. So, shout out to Davy Back fight, and then we'll get to like some Davy Jones stuff, because I do want to talk about Davy Jones.
Yeah, with Xebec, even if there's like less, or even if there's not like total friendship or anything, I think there is at least the respect that Blackbeard doesn't have of, hey, you won the fight square, I gotta work for you. Even if they're not friends or anything, they're like, hey, we made a deal, I lost, I'm part of the crew now.
Yeah.
So there's at least that level of respect.
Pirates with honor. Yeah.
I love the Davy Back stuff being important here, just because it ties into something that I have been saying for years and years. Because I've been saying for a long time, the first time we heard about Hachinosu was during Longland, where we had the Davy Back fight. That's the first time we heard about Davy Jones. And all of that ties in to Blackbeard, who is now in charge of Hachinosu. So I've been saying for years that, to me, with Oda's writing, and I could be completely wrong, but for me, the fight between the Straw Hats and the Blackbeard Pirates, I have always thought it was going to be a Davy Back fight instead of like an actual fight, because some of the matchups...
You told me this before. I remember this. You told me this before.
Especially like some of the matchups, Oda doesn't do a lot of the like one-on-one fights anymore like we got in early One Piece, but things like Usopp and Van Augur, like, do you really see Oda writing like a sniper fight between Usopp and Van Augur, or do you see it being more like, oh, you have to shoot this target however far away, like the Logtown filler Daddy Masterson, Daddy the Parent stuff? Like, I just feel like some of the matchups for the Straw Hats and the Blackbeard Pirates make more sense as a Davy Back fight than like an actual, we're going to a pirate war with each other.
I've always found that interesting. I actually do think they're gonna do a sniper fight, because what I believe is, actually, if I had to bring this up, so if you noticed in the chapter that happened, when Rock shoots one of the boats, the boat just completely explodes. It's streaming for about 40 minutes now. And when Usopp does it to Bartholomew's ship, it completely explodes. And I think there's a way to infuse your bullets with hockey to like completely strengthen it to like crazy degrees. So I still think Usopp is gonna be learning more and more things that he can do with hockey to make his like bullets or whatever more special, if you will. And I actually do like the idea of a bit of a sniper battle, because I think Van Augur would like just apply pressure with like just how good he is at shooting naturally or whatever. But with Usopp's trickery, Usopp's like underhandedness and everything of the sort, he'll be able to maybe maneuver himself around in ways that he's not used to. And I actually think that could be an interesting fight. Like, they're hiding behind stuff. He makes a bamboo forest so he can run through it quickly, and he has to like try to snipe in between the bamboo. Like, I think it could actually be a really fun fight. I don't hate the idea of them like hit the target. I don't hate it. For me, it's all about execution. But I actually think a sniper battle where you can hide behind stuff or whatever would lend to Usopp a little bit more. And I think his creativity would shine.
I agree it'd be really cool. I just, I don't know. I wish we still got all of the, like with Kaido and stuff in the Beast Pirates. I really wish we had gotten, like, fights for all of the Straw Hats. We did for some of them, but I kind of wish we more often, or even just Egghead. We just had Egghead. We introduced the 9 Vice Admirals and stuff. If we would have had the 9 Vice Admirals fight, like, you know, maybe not all 9 of the Straw Hats other than Luffy, but maybe some of them fight Straw Hats, some of them fight, like, some of the Vegapunks or something. I think that would have been fun. I just don't see it happening as much anymore. And I feel like the Davy Back stuff just ties in a lot with Teach.
I'm with you. I like that idea, especially since his dad was so into it, and obviously, well, actually, so there was 2 translations that said that Rocks either kind of followed and or worshipped Davy Jones, and there's one that said he's a Davy Jonesian pirate. And I'm not sure exactly which translation to go through, but what do you guys think that kind of means?
The official translation says that he's a worshipper of Davy Jones or follower of Davy Jones or whatever, but the scans said that he was Davy Jonesian. And hey, I'm not personally a fan of the official translation. I think the scans are a better translation. Oh, yeah. I was excited about it for something that might be completely wrong, because when I read Davy Jonesian, I thought that might have been like a new race or something in One Piece, and I was like, is that why Blackbeard has a special body? Is Blackbeard a Davy Jonesian?
Yeah.
Or I was like, is Blackbeard a Buccaneer, and Buccaneers are half human, half Davy Jonesian or something? Because we know that Buccaneers were hunted down by the world government, to the point where if a Buccaneer baby was born, they were on that trying to execute them or sell them into slavery. And then Scopper said that they were a mixed breed. So it's like, mix? What is it a mix of then? Like, what is a Buccaneer? Like a cross between?
Giants and humans, I would say.
I feel like we've seen a lot of giant humans already, though.
Yeah, but it's been stated that like people like Big Mom and Whitebeard and stuff like that are not Buccaneers. They are not giants. They just are humans. They're just very large humans, but they're still humans. But stated multiple times. So,
what's up, Griever?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Yo, it's rock season, bro. Get your rocks out.
Get your rocks out. Yeah, yeah, it's time to get our rocks off, baby.
I know. Oh man. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad. So,
Oh,
is anyone ready for my hot take? It's not a hot take, really. It just
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not even a hot take. It's really a hype take. I think
let's hear it.
I don't think Roger was stronger than Xebec. I don't think he was stronger than him. I think he ended up surpassing him eventually. I don't think when they killed him he was stronger than him.
Okay, before that even,
I don't think that's super hot.
how is that a hot take? We were told when we learned about Xebec the first time with the God Valley incident, we were told that Garp and Roger had to team up to defeat this guy. Who was going off on a limb saying Roger was stronger than Xebec in the first place? I always assumed that it was like, okay, these guys are like 98, 97, whatever, but Xebec was 100, and it took Garp and Roger combined to take him down. Like, who?
Well, they didn't say that explicitly. They said that they teamed up, but they didn't say why. So it could have been like they had to fight.
Take down the Rocks pirates, quote unquote. So that includes
Yeah.
Sheepy, Whitebeard. Yeah, I get how you could cement that, but I always took it as no. Roger, specifically Roger and Garp, not their crews, not their fleets. Roger and Garp fought Rocks 2v1 and killed them. That's how I always took it. So, like, I don't think it's a hot take to say that Xebec was probably the strongest, or at the very least, it's a 50-50 whether, if Xebec went 1v1 versus Whitebeard, 1v1 versus Roger, 1v1 versus Garp, it's a toss-up. Like, there's no definitive winner. So to make sure they won, Garp and Roger teamed up to make sure they put him down.
I think Garp and Roger would have 2v1'd Rocks just because there were other people there who would have fought like Whitebeard and Shiki and stuff. Like you had the rest of Roger's crew, you had other Marines, you had the God Knights there, and we still don't know what they did. The God Knights back then were moving like the revolutionaries are now.
We had Bogart, by the way. We had fucking Bogart. He was taking care of Whitebeard, no question. So.
Okay, so I bring it up just because I know, I saw some takes on Twitter. Obviously, I hate taking them seriously, but I did see a lot of those takes. But Lizard did say, hold on. No, Garp and Roger had to team up to destroy the Rock pirates. There's nothing stating that. I don't know how people think two of the strongest old gen characters would be needed to beat one person, even if it's Rocks. And for me, what I'm saying is, all the feats that I've seen Rocks and do, and already to me, I kind of think he was a strange outlier of in terms of strength. I don't know how old he is there, but for someone to kind of be like a little bit solo dolo and be that strong and figure out to climb to the top of the red line and then go into the flower room and then kind of assess, okay, for the time being right now, I'm not ready, but I'm going to be back. Then clash with Harold, blow everyone away, they jump off, then he goes and starts doing crazy shit like breaking through the gates of justice, taking over the Beehive Island. Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, and my big thing is that I'm not saying that Lizard's wrong there. I'm saying that it's not that it had to happen. As I just said, it's a 50-50. I don't think Whitebeard 100% loses against Rocks. I don't think Roger loses 100% of the time against Rocks. I'm saying to make sure that this was the end, Garp and Roger teamed up to make sure he was defeated, if you get my meaning. You know what I mean? Like, you could call it 60-40, 50-50, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what numbers you add to it. I'm not saying that, anybody's 100%, because we're talking all the top pirates in One Piece. They're all going to be
relevant. Again, that also begs the question, what is the motive behind it? Like, why would they do that for him specifically?
And Sengoku alluded to it, but we don't know the actual reason. It'd be interesting to hear what Garp actually thinks. I'd love to get Garp's take on this entire thing, because according to Sengoku, he hated the fact that he was doing this and it helped the Celestial Dragons, and B, that he teamed up with pirates to get the job done. he didn't like either one of the factors, yet he still went on the mission and took care of business. What I'd like to hear it from that's Sengoku's analysis as an outside party. I'd like to hear what Garp actually was thinking at the time. It'd be very interesting to know what was Garp's mindset going into that, because obviously he doesn't want to be there at fucking all.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I'm again. I think a lot of the angles that you can take here are all valid. It's just like right now, like I said, my hype take is I truly don't think either one of the Garp nor Roger or Whitebeard, honestly, any of them were actually straight up stronger than Rocks, because I think that if anyone on the crew kind of was, because of the nature of the how that crew was built, and I'm sure maybe they've tried, but they couldn't usurp him, they couldn't beat him. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of like, I know this is not canon, but like in film, in Stampede, Bullet would constantly challenge Roger and get his ass beat. He's like, listen, kid, I'll fight you anytime. You're strong, but I'll beat your ass every time. Like, I'm the head honcho. I feel like Xebec was so careless with, like, not careless, but, like, they didn't care about who he recruited and what their personalities really were, because he's like, I have the strength and capability to ward off any acts of treason. I'm not saying he still didn't lose because of treason. I find what Kaido said about pirates' true nature to almost like that's like almost, like I feel like he's seen it before. Not that he hasn't done it himself. Like I wonder if like he saw Rocks get betrayed, or maybe when Rocks was getting pushed back, everyone just scattered and left. I'm not sure. This is kind of my problem sometimes with not showing exactly how things happen, because then we got to do a lot of guesswork and speculation. This is why I hope that maybe from the Rocks POV, I don't expect Oda to show everything, but show a little bit more of what happened. I think that will do a lot. Like, if we just saw how he went down, oh, okay, we get it now.
Yeah. I think we're definitely, once again, everyone, I think we can all agree. If Oda decided, you know what, the rest of the year, guys, you aren't going to be seeing Luffy and the crew. We're going to do God's Valley flashback. Nobody would complain. So, I mean, everyone would be thrilled. My big thing about that is what you were saying, that is there's also, like you were saying, like Kaido and stuff, like how different pirates work. But I would argue Big Mom's argument in Wano as well is that there are honor among even pirates, and that we have a code. And Davy, the whole Davy Jonesian pirate, and the way Rocks assembled this crew, he didn't straight up go and fight and submit Whitebeard and Shiki on these people. He won them in a Davy Jones fight and stuff, as we know. And also the other fact is that he and I'm not arguing that he might be the strongest. He probably is, but he had this idea of, did he tell Whitebeard? Did he tell the crew, hey, there's someone on top of the world, and they don't deserve to be there. We can shake shit up and we can take them down and stuff, and they don't like the idea of tyranny, because Rocks might have been a pirate's pirate, but someone on top being a dictator to the rest of the world, to the open seas, that goes against every single pirate. Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, the whole bit, honorable or not. So they're like, yeah, all right, you're putting together a crew to eventually like take this fucker off of his throne. I'm good with it. We're playing the Game of Thrones right now. You know what I mean? So, like, people could have gone along with this idea. You know what I mean? Like, there's multiple, as you already said, Nia, there's multiple ways we can look at this. And I think they're all, right now, where we have such a lack of information, they're all valid. You know? There's lesser degrees, but I still think that there's a level of, it doesn't matter that, because Rocks didn't create this ultimate crew due to his overwhelming strength. He didn't make everybody submit. He didn't pull a Mihawk on a Zoro East Blue style on all these pirates. He won them in Davy Jones fights. We know that for a fact. The manga told us that. Mm-hmm. So he never necessarily fought Whitebeard. And to bring up the fact that maybe they went against him, I can see Shiki doing that. Whitebeard, not so much. You know, I can see Big Mom maybe. Kaido as an apprentice, absolutely not. You know, like, some of the characters, yeah, I could see like the Golden Lion doing it, but Whitebeard's got nothing to gain by doing that. He's agreeing with everything that's going down right now, so he's just like, yeah, I'll follow you for a while, blah, blah, blah. Whitebeard seems like chill. It's almost like Rayleigh or Roger being on the Rocks crew for a time. It'd be like, all right, do what you want until you do something fucking egregious. Then I'll argue with you. But until then, and once again, we've only seen like 2 interactions with them, so we don't really know what the dynamic was. Most people think either Shiki or Whitebeard was the unofficial first mate of the crew. So did they have any sway or say in the way that Rocks did his shit? We don't know. So there's a lot.
Based on what we've seen, it looks like none of them listen to each other. So yeah.
Yeah, which is what Whitebeard said when we saw the Wano flashback. He goes, because it just happened. And he was like, yeah, no, too many powerhouses on one crew. No, that shit did not fucking fly. So we're not doing that shit again. That's why he built his crew the way he built his crew, and he built an armada for fuck's sakes. But he even went, yeah, no, too many strong personalities, too many. I'm a conqueror, you're a conqueror, everybody's a conqueror. Too many Super Saiyans. It's not a Super Saiyan bargain sale,
It could be, hold on, what did he say? It could be like Kaido versus Luffy, where Kaido fought others, but Luffy was the one who really finished and did most of the damage. Now, Whitebeard for sure wasn't stronger in God's Valley because there was a statement in the data book or something that's... Oh, no, they did say he reached his peak in Prime a few years after God's Valley, right? So...
Okay, fair enough. I don't remember that, but I'll take...
No, I do remember reading that. That's true. Again, it wasn't like it's nothing. My cape's not like flowing in the wind super strongly. It's just that like right now in my head, if I had to think of the strongest person who's kind of ever existed or pirate at least, I'd go Joy Boy, and then I'd go Rocks Roger. Right now, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would.
Real quick. I think Roger has other qualities that make him
a better person. Not a better pirate, but a better person.
Put it this way.
More charismatic.
I don't think Xebec was particularly a leader of men from a traditional standpoint. It's kind of like a team captain that kind of leads by example. He may not talk much, he may not do much, but he works out the most. He's the first to come to practice, the last to leave, and maybe he doesn't particularly care about team chemistry and camaraderie because no matter what he's going to do, drop 30 points and win the game, right? Whereas Roger can galvanize his troops, and like Roger's strength comes from protecting people and the people he loves, and he was more of an adventurer, and you could say he's more of a I kind of want to get into this now, more of a liberator, where I feel like he comes from the ilk of Joy Boy, which transcends or trickles down to Luffy. Whereas,
like what Mihawk said about Luffy.
Yeah.
He's got the most dangerous power in the world because he just made Whitebeard and everyone on his side. He's the one that's more dangerous than any power we possess.
Yeah. And whereas Rocks is a conqueror, I would say that he's a little anti-freedom in that sense because he's going to subjugate people with his own strength. And I think he comes from the Davy Jones pipeline, which I think they're both D's. Like, I think Joy Boy was a D, and so was Davy Jones. Because Davy Jones is a real character in One Piece, if you don't know. They say that he lives at the bottom of the sea. He was cursed by whatever. There's actually a really terrible drawing of him that Oda did on SBS, which is hilarious. And he has spoken about Davy Jones a little bit. So I think Xebec and Teach follow the Davy Jones way, if you will, whereas Roger and Luffy kind of followed the Joy Boy path, if you will. The dawn versus, I don't know, the dusk, if you want to, whatever you want to call it. All D shit.
Interesting contrast between the two of them because, Davy Jones' lover sunk to the bottom of the sea and then,
where's Crocodile rank? 0.
Like,
better than 1.
Sun God.
Sorry. You are.
Yeah, I was saying Nika, Joy Boy, Luffy, Roger, all of them represent freedom, the sun, bright. Then Davy Jones, Blackbeard represent hollow, nothingness, blackness, things like that.
And like Lizard said, you can see it in their dreams. Rocks wants to be the king of the world, while Roger's dream involved being the most free in the world.
Yeah, I think it's a difference. I think you hit the nail on the head there because you just said you use the word conquerors. See, we use the word conquerors because, of course, conqueror is hockey. But once again, what is a conqueror? A conqueror is not a good person. A conqueror is a dictator, an abuser, someone who, you know what I mean? And then we have liberators, who are people who like help and free the land. So like to almost, because we call it conquerors hockey, we almost sort of gray area that word. But yeah, that's a perfect way to like cut the line, is that Joy Boy, Luffy, Roger, they were all liberators. And then we have conquerors, who are people like Kaido and Xebec and people like who want to, and Emu, who want to subjugate the world through power, tyranny, and fear. You know, like, it's just the difference. It's still running the world, but in one subjugates and one frees. You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think maybe that's why we have two translations for it? Like we have Conqueror's Hockey and we have Color of the Supreme King. You think that was intentional?
That's interesting, because I think, yeah, like, even though Conqueror sounds better, I always thought Supreme King. Like, you had kings, like, it was almost like an aura. Like, you had the like in Air Gear, the infinity atmosphere, you had the aura of a king. And it didn't mean that you would necessarily be a tyrant or a benevolent king. It just meant you had the power and the pedigree to be a king. And I'm like, all right, I like that. You had an aura and atmosphere around you that made you. Like, you didn't need the king's treasures to be a king. You just were a king. And so I actually like, even though we can shit on Viz translations all day, I kind of like Supreme King's hockey over, you know, Conquerors, because Conquerors does have the connotation of being coming in and invading, you know, and that's not, Luffy has never done that. As far as we know, Roger never did that. You know, they claim territory. Shanks has never done that. As far as we know, the islands that Shanks and people like that have, and even some of Big Mom's and Kaido's places, as far as we know, are actually glad to have the protection of a Yonko. You know, they're sort of like, no, they didn't conquer. They liberated us. They're our protection. We're good. We're solid, you know? So conquer is kind of twofold.
I hear you. That's interesting. Conqueror's hockey, because it was also King's disposition. Go ahead.
If you want to know the kanji used in it, it's the kanji for dominate king and color. So dominate king color hockey.
Oh, there you go. Dominate king color hockey. That's raw.
But it's still king though. Mm-hmm. So the dominate part, you could argue, is the fact that when using this hockey, you literally do, like, make everybody bow, like some Medica box. I know now will appreciate this, that Medica box shit. Yeah. Like, you know, I have the power of fucking, I'm a king, so bow, you know.
Prostrate you could yourself before me.
Yeah, exactly. Prostrate. Boom. Everyone's on their knees. That's all. The first level of Conqueror's hockey, that's all it does. It doesn't mind control anybody. It doesn't subjugate them. It makes them bow. So the dominating part could just be you know what I mean? But the fact is that, as you said, the next kanji, and I'll take your word for it, is king. So it's a dominating king, but I don't know. We're into a gray area. I don't know. What do you guys?
I think it's interesting. I never thought about it that way, but ultimately, I think it's one of those things where, like, what did was either Dory or Brogy who said the hockey rope from Joy Boy was like really strong but way less sinister than Shanks, where it's like, I think you can have a nicer Conqueror's hockey, if that makes sense. I think it just depends on your personality and what you're doing with it. But the name, the two naming conventions is interesting in its own right, and I actually even remember it having another name before. I can't remember what it was. Like King of, it was probably a hood translation, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I forget what it was called.
Yeah,
It wasn't Conquerors or Kings. It was like,
yeah,
fuck.
I could probably find it if I go on my old hard drive. I could probably find the older translations of it. But
Yeah.
But
But you're right, because like, for example, I would argue that you can call it dominating kings hockey, you can call it supreme king hockey, you can call it whatever you want. Do you think that Whitebeard ever used it maliciously? Do you think Roger did? Luffy has never done so? So like, my argument would be it's obviously not inherently, and your example of Joy Boys hockey feeling more benevolent and Shanks is feeling much more like sinister or more like I want to kill you, like it's got that almost bloodlust to it. I think there is a level of like it's not necessarily a dark side. This is not Force lightning, you know what I mean, from Star Wars. This isn't inherently, oh, if you Force choke someone, you're a Sith. No. You know, like using Conqueror's hockey doesn't make you evil, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, anyone else want to piggyback off that?
Mm-hmm.
Pat, did you tell me what you thought what Rock's is kind of his most interesting or greatest feat was so far yet?
Oh, I was going to circle back. But I'm going to go with the simple answer, and I will say him killing an admiral was definitely something where I was like, I've never read that line.
Yeah.
You know, like it's something that's like the imminence of death is always present in One Piece. I mean, like people always say people don't die in One Piece, but when it does happen, it has like a very huge reverberation around the universe because Oda likes people dead when they die. That's why he doesn't do it so often.
Mm-hmm.
He gets sparingly so it can have an impact. And we're always told like the admirals or the Marines or the Navy's greatest fighting force, and comparatively they are close to a tier of Yonkos. I wouldn't say that they're on the same level, but like if they were to fight for an extended period of time, that would make it very difficult for a Yonko to beat and kill them. That's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they said he killed an admiral by himself.
He didn't seem to look super injured either because he clashed with Harold.
Yeah. So now I need more. Like Oda needs to tell me the identity of this man, circumstances surrounding it. Like was he protecting people and that's why he got killed? Or was it just a straight up mano a mano and died? Like I need details.
You know what, Pat? That's fair. If you're fighting in Marijual, you still have to protect the CDs. So no, that's a good point. He may have been a little hampered if he has like an ability that's very kind of destructive. Kind of like how Whitebeard has to pay attention to where his crew is when he uses the Quake crew because they can be collateral damage.
I do think something I've seen somebody bring up, Oda loves to tie in all of the like random throwaway things he says, and this isn't like random throwaway, but he likes to tie it all into other stuff later. So sometime down the line we're gonna get some backstory, like the Akainu backstory or something, and he's going to be like, "My father was an admiral killed by rocks" or something like that. Like it's gonna tie into somebody's backstory somewhere.
Kong, it's Kong's moment. No, I'm kidding.
My big thing, I want to agree with Pat here. Like, I think Pat's 100% correct because even if you could make the argument that, oh, he had to protect the Celestial Dragons or oh this or oh that, we know that, like, yeah, okay, you might have had to do that, but you're telling me there was only one admiral when the entire 5 Gorosei live up there? And, like it's not like he was caught unawares, like Thatch versus Blackbeard level shit.
Mm-hmm.
People have made that argument that maybe he shot an admiral in the back and beelined it for the flower room. And I just don't see it. I think he actually 1v1'd an admiral, and he managed to do it, like, obviously in record time, and then made it to the flower room, and it was like, okay, this dude is not fucking around.
If people are reading, it's very clear that he cheated straight up. There wasn't no underhanded stuff because Oda wouldn't make it a point to showcase in the like couple panels later that he has Conqueror's Haki by clashing with Harold if that was.
and that he killed an admiral that obviously we've never been introduced to. So I'm going to tell you, he killed an admiral that none of you care about because none of you even know his fucking name. But yeah, he definitely backstabbed it. Like, it just makes no narrative.
No sense.
I don't think it was.
Yeah,
I don't think it was cowardly.
Blackbeard's dad.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I'm not saying that Blackbeard doesn't do shit cowardly. I'm saying that Xebec, I agree with Pat. He absolutely went up there, beat an admiral in record time, and bounced. I mean, because as much as I'm not trying to play the Yonko admiral agenda here, but let's do the 2 years after God Valley Whitebeard here. He is going to 1v1 and beat any of the admirals we have seen. That's a fucking fact. If you don't think so, I don't know what two-piece you're fucking reading. I'm sorry. Whitebeard can 1v1 Akainu, Aokiji, or Kizaru in his prime. There's just no question of that.
I agree too. Right. Just because they like made a point to word it in a way where they're like, oh, he single-handedly took one down. To me, that kind of implies that it was an actual fight.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. They made it a point to say he single-handedly took down a Marine admiral. And admiral carries, like Oda was saying, admiral carries weight, is what he was trying to say. Xebec, like, this is a feat. I'm telling you, this dude has pedigree, and the community is not listening. I don't know. Like,
that's so crazy, bro. I never thought I would see that like written in One Piece. Admiral was killed, huh? Like, I had to do a double take when I read that.
It's not that I didn't think it would happen. It wouldn't happen, but I thought it would have happened maybe in the present time, or like if it happened something like hold on, like. Let's just say, for some reason, right after Rocks, I don't know, Kaido and Longland teamed up and they did it together or something. It's just like the idea that, like, you have to remember that at this moment, I know Rock is a criminal, but he's not a pirate. He just went up there by himself. And I'm like, why are you even this strong? Where are you from? What have you seen? Like, why are you so dumb strong right now? Like, you just killed an admiral and walked up to Imu and said, oh, I'm going to take that seat soon. I'll be back. I know. And he had enough discernment to be like, as of right now, I can't do anything yet, but I will come back. And then he cut. And then he meets the king of the giants, one of the strongest giants, who also has ancient blood, and just clashes with him. Like, the idea that he did it underhandedly or backstabbed would be weird, because if you see all of his actions, he's very straightforward, to the point that as much as he's pretty meticulous in his planning, like, okay, we're going to use the world government, we're not going to take their money, we're going to go there, we're going to steal it, we're going to take it over, and that, I'm like, bro, this guy's plan is to just storm the capital with strong niggas. Like, that's his whole plan. Like, I got Whitebeard, Shiki, we're just going to go up there and wreak havoc. like
not gonna lie, had Roger and Garp not stopped him, I'm not gonna say that he couldn't have accomplished it. That crew was. Garp says it himself long before these chapters. He's like, "Oh, Big Mom and Kaido are teaming up. He's eating his crackers, drinking his coffee." He's like, "Yeah, we're fucked," because Garp knows there's no one on my level in my prime anymore in the Marines. There's nobody on Roger's level anymore to back me up. Big Mom and Kaido team up and they get anybody back from the Rocks crew, we're fucked. So I'm going to take the word, like, once again, as you said, Naya, and I think, Pat, you said the same thing, is that Rocks was the strongest pirate, well, Joy Boy and whatever, Nika and blah, blah, blah. But Rocks was the strongest pirate we've seen in the series, and his crew was just that fucking good. And at the end of the day, the Gorosei, Emu, Rogers Pirates, the Marines, nobody could hold a candle to that level, you know, as a singular force. And at the end of the day, they're gonna fucking lose.
Hold on. I wasn't done. And the point of the cowardice is, like, everything that he did was very straightforward. It's like, okay, Davy Back fight. I want him. Yo, bro, this is my plan. Like, he's not, in my opinion, doing something super sneaky like, oh, he's on his deathbed, let's jump him. Like, he's not doing teach stuff. Like, everything that you've pretty much seen him do would support the fact that he single-handedly took down an admiral. And like Lizard said too, he definitely had a lot of knowledge. He knew, like, I feel like he knew Emu was there. Like he didn't seem shocked to see Emu there. Like he just aura farming with his gun in his hand, just kind of taking the situation in. I'm like,
and why did he leave? Why did he
I'm
say
like,
not yet? He had him dead to rights. He just killed an admiral. So why did he not just?
Because I think at that moment he understood that Emu was something more, something different. So it's like, I don't think Rocks was at his prime yet. It's like I need a bit more manpower, maybe more knowledge.
I agree with that.
And like to me that's a testament to how brilliant he is, because I'm like, he could have been super reckless and been like, ha, it's my time to, and like Emu would just turn into a fucking Bozu, whatever the hell it is, and that's the end of Rocks right there. And he's not a captain yet. He's not a captain. He's not a pirate yet. And it's after that he starts to move this way. And to me, I just found like his story to me so far has been equally, if not, I don't want to say it's more interesting than Roger's yet, but I do think the way it started has intrigued me a bit more than Roger's story, though I do still think Roger's story is absolutely special and incredible. You guys get off what you get off what you need to get off, and then I want to get to the Rock Pirates in general and talk about the lineage stuff. But go ahead.
I was just gonna double back. Like, I think people are not taking Rocks for who he is at face value, and they're trying too hard to tie him into what Teach's character is about, just because he's that. Because it's like, even when he clashed with Harold, like in the middle, like mid-clash, he's telling him like, "Hey, angle your sword downhill, you can escape that way."
Yeah.
Like, bro, come on, man. Even in the middle of battle, he's level-headed, thinking multiple steps ahead. Like, "Hey, you strong? I'm gonna see you again. I might need you. So go ahead and do this for me real quick. You get out of here. I'll see you later."
Exactly.
Pat, I love your assessment of that, because so many people are comparing every action that Xebec is doing, and they're giving that feat to Blackbeard. And I'm like, they're two separate people. Just because their father, I love that you just said, just because he's his son doesn't mean he's the same person. This isn't
exactly
Xebec 2.0, and it's not meant to be. It doesn't make Blackbeard a bad character, and I hate when people say, I'm like, oh no, Blackbeard ain't top 5. People are like, oh no, you think he's a shitty villain? No, he's a fucking fantastic villain because he's not top 5. It'd be easy to be top 1 and be a villain. We've seen that in so many shonen manga, but it's good that he's conniving, he's manipulative, he's backstabbing, he's literally the embodiment of a pirate. Xebec, literally, as Naya, Pat, we've all pointed out, overwhelming strength. If we all agree that he's at the very least, even if you don't put him above Roger or whatever like that, he's top 5, and he owns that, and that's part of the reason that he's so deadly and powerful. So they're different characters, and I like that. I love the fact that the father doesn't have to follow the son. Ace didn't follow Roger; he followed Whitebeard's ideals, which similar but still distinctively different. And that's a good.
Luffy is a dumbass. Dragon gonna be a dumbass.
Luffy is nothing like Harper Dragon.
Like, come on now.
Dragon should be Nico Robin's father, for fuck's sakes. But meanwhile, he's got Luffy, you know? And it's like, all right, fair enough.
With them being different people, they still probably have the same will in the whole, like, usual One Piece inherited will sense. And I kind of like it compared to, say, Oden and Momonosuke, where Momonosuke's like, I want to do what's right with Wano, but I don't have this crazy strength that Oden did. But Momonosuke had this sort of leadership and this heart in the right place to stay with Wano and to help people. And he's like, I can't do what Oden did, but I can carry on that will in a way to do what I can do. And then sort of the evil version of that is Teach. I think that Teach probably does have the same will as Rocks, like I said earlier, with Rocks saying way. I'd be back, and then if he was never back, then, you know, the sort of dream, the inherited will maybe for Teach is to get back there where Rocks said he'd be back. But Teach might just be like, you know, I have the same will, but I don't have what Rocks did, so I have to cheat people, I have to sneak attack people, I have to do it the underhanded way, because I have the same will, but the way I do things is differently because I don't have what he had.
Or the theory, my guy, which I agree with you, honestly, but the crazy theory is That's why Blackbeard doesn't sleep, and one of the soul theory inside of Blackbeard is Xebec.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Yeah, so the Xebec thing is still... The Xebec soul thing is still going to be on the table. I don't prescribe to it personally. I don't think it doesn't have merit. It does, but I still don't... yeah. I think just his mom was special. Xebec obviously had sex with a super special celestial dragon or some shit, and fucking that's why he doesn't sleep. I don't fucking know. But
I also wanted to say, in relation to when you were saying, why did Rox leave and stuff, maybe sort of like what Naya said earlier with Oda saying that if Teach wasn't a pirate, he would have been an archaeologist in the real world, like his real world job. Maybe we've seen so many different characters that learn about past history, whether it's the stuff being passed down through Wano, or the stuff that O'Hara dredged up, Clover specifically looking for stuff because of what happened to his brother, all of that. Maybe the reason that he showed up there and then left without doing anything to Imu is because whatever follower of Davy Jones or Davy Jonesian means, he learned something about Imu, about the world government, about the world of One Piece, and he heard about it, but it's not like he knew it was true or anything, so he could have broken into Muriwa and made it to the flower room to try to figure out the truth. And then when he got there, he sees Imu and he's like, okay, so whatever I learned was true, but I can't do anything about it right now. I'm just now confirming for myself that this is true.
I like that. I want to actually add one stipulation to it. What if he didn't fucking care? And what I mean by that is like, oh, so there is a king of the world. Neat. Why would I kill you? I can still go out in the world, do what I want. You can't stop me, and I'll build up my goals later. I know that the following panels sort of get rid of that theory, but I'm just saying, like, there was a potential he could have fought to the death, but he went, kind of a hassle. It was more of a lazy decision. Like, there was no, because realistically, when you think about it, what's the benefit to Rox getting rid of Emu? A character, a figure that the rest of the world does not know even exists. So he risks his life to kill this arbitrary figure that only he and a handful of people ever even knew existed in the first place. For what gain? He's once again, unlike, it's similar to Blackbeard, he's all about the money. He's all about the strategy. He's all about the, listen, like, what am I getting out of this? If I'm going to go toe-to-toe, I better get something fucking out of this. He's a prize fighter who won't fight. He can kick 90 people's ass, but he's not going to do it for no money.
Rock said that I don't think it was lazy. It's more, Rock said he wanted to be king of the world, but if he kills Emu there...
after that.
But if he kills Emu there, he's not going to just magically become king of the world. It's like, if he killed Emu there, he would just be an assassin who killed this king that most people didn't know about. Like, he wouldn't have had a following or backing or any kind of,
he couldn't
system for ruling afterward.
The option to. Even if, let's say, Xebec could have done the job, it doesn't benefit him, or it doesn't benefit him as well, as you just pointed out. Now he's the silent assassin. He's not...
he would have just been an assassin before, but if he does it now he has all of the money from Hachinosu. He has his crew that he's built up. He has an actual system where if he were to go to God Valley and then to Muriwa, if he were to go and take out the world government, now he actually has a method for ruling afterward.
Yeah, I like that. See, I prefer that idea as the reason as to why I don't like the fact that Xebec just went, oh, I finally made it here. Huh. Didn't know you existed, Hitler. All right, well, peace. I'll be back. You know what I mean? Like, that makes no fucking sense. He just killed a Navy admiral. He killed the equivalent of a Sengoku or an Akainu, and now he's going to, like, bitch between his legs while on his way out, clashing with one of the strongest giants in history. Yeah, no, he's not doing that. So he had to have had a reason. So I love your reasoning, is that it was like, no. this won't achieve what I want to achieve. You know, I like that because Rocks is a thinker. We've seen Rocks as a thinker. That's how he amassed the greatest crew in the world through Davy Jones battles. That was, you know. So I like that. I love it.
Am I good?
Oh, I'm muted. That's crazy. I'm crazy. It's crazy. I was muted. I was muted. I was muted. That's my bad. What I was gonna say real quick is, how do you guys look at Ace and Teach's battle on Bonero Island now, knowing what we know about their fathers and lineage? Does that change how you look at it? Because I don't want to. I feel like Teach in some ways is getting his lick back for all the things that he feels maybe could have been done wrong to his dad. And that includes getting Whitebeard out of the way. I know originally he wasn't going after Ace, it was Luffy, but when Ace fell into his lap, he kind of like said, you know what, I'm just going to take Ace out, and Ace ended up dying. But it's like, yo, your father's fought. I think Rocks probably won the first one because Roger was like, you know how salty I've been all year for this whole year, and came back, and then they were able to take him down. But basically what I'm saying is, with the Rocks introduction and stuff now, does it kind of recontextualize the meaning and symbolism of Ace and Blackbeard? The sun and the darkness?
I think it's neat because we don't even know if they knew or not. There is the one line for Ace where Ace is like, Teach, you've been through twice as much as the rest of us, and we don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. But it's cool that Whitebeard was part of Rox's crew and then let his son as a kid onto his crew, only to be betrayed by him. But it's one of those things where if neither of them knew, because I'm not sure how many people even knew that Ace was Roger's son, if neither of them knew, I think it makes it even cooler, because it's almost like a fate sort of thing, where Teach didn't even know that that was Roger's son, or Ace didn't know that that was Rox's son, and yet they still ended up fighting each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, based on how much they knew, it's gonna change a couple of things. Because Blackbeard initially, he wanted Ace to join the crew. That was the first thing he said when he saw he was being completely oblivious as to why Ace was chasing him. He was like, "I'm glad you're here. If you join me up, we can go over and we can go get Luffy. I got this plan." And that's when Ace was like, "Nigga, you dumb? That's my brother."
But do you think, Pat, that was just an antagonist? It wasn't a serious. It was more of a trying to get under his skin. Hey, want to join my crew and go kill your brother? You know, like, you know what I mean?
I think
I don't think it was, because nobody knew that Ace and Luffy were brothers, really. Like, Teach didn't know.
We can infer that. Yeah, because no, we actually, if Blackbeard had been paying attention, because he showed Pops back before Alabasta, hey, look, it's my kid brother, Pops. Look at how good he's doing. We can infer that Blackbeard was in the background. You can't say that Blackbeard didn't know.
I think I want to get to what Pat said before. I can't remember how you phrased it. I don't want to screw it up, but I'll kind of refresh your memory. What I will say is, I think how you view this is going to be dependent on how much you think a lot of these characters knew and didn't say. Like when Whitebeard ran into Teach as a kid, did he know that was Rox's kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did he know?
Yeah.
Like, it kind of depends on what you think these characters didn't know. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Blackbeard just didn't tell anybody too much. But
he might not have told anybody, but he absolutely knew.
Yeah, but yeah, Pat, you had talked about the differences of Ace and Blackbeard and how they looked at their fathers in terms of even why they took different names and things of that nature. I don't know if you remember how you worded it last time. If not, I could try to word it.
So basically, it
it's a really good
on how much Blackbeard actually knows. So like with Ace, he completely rejected like everything his dad stood for, because, you know, growing up, he never really knew the man. So closest that he got to knowing about Roger was second, and everybody told him that Roger was like the worst person ever, and if that person had a child and that person died, it wasn't worth nothing. So naturally, as a child, you want to distance yourself from something like that. And he doesn't understand like Roger's circumstances or anything. He resented him for not raising him, having to be raised by Garp and Dada and all that stuff. And whereas with Blackbeard,
The opposite of
what we
Usopp.
know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and from Blackbeard, what we know is like fully embraced everything that Xebec stood for. You know, constantly chasing after like everything left behind, trying to achieve the goal that he wasn't able to do. And even with the final clash that they have with each other, like Ace represented being free. His devil fruit, Mara no Mi is fire, and then his final attack is like the sun. So again, with the contrast of like Joy Boy, Nika, Roger, like embodying freedom and brightness and joy, and the sun, like the sun represents
Sun,
warmth,
dawn, dusk, darkness, maybe.
right? And then like Blackbeard, represents nothingness, the void, darkness, evil, everything that Blackbeard created with.
Yeah, I always found it interesting that both like there's commonality and overlap, but like for different reasons. Like I feel like he took maybe Marshall was his mom's last name or some other name, but he did it to hide the fact he's Xebec's son. But he fully intended to follow in his footsteps and try to achieve what he did, if not more. Where Ace was like, I don't mess with Roger. I take my mom's name because I reject the idea that I'm Roger's kid, kind of thing. Especially because remember, as a child, he'd ask people about Roger, and they'd be like, "He was the worst scoundrel ever," and then Ace would get mad and beat him up. Like, even though both of them didn't really know their fathers, they completely took different paths in terms of who did or didn't follow him. And then Ace took Whitebeard on as his dad. Like Whitebeard's my father. That's my dad.
But that was a failure of both Whitebeard and Garp for Ace, because they both respected Roger, and every time you see Ace disrespect Roger in that regard, they both get a grimace on their face. They're like in the anime, in the East Blue special, in fucking the manga, they all are like they don't like that they're speaking ill of their dead basically friend, because it's like, your dad was not that bad a guy, you shouldn't hate him that much, but they can't say it. And I would argue that they probably fucking should have. Whitebeard should have spoken up and said something, and so should have fucking Garp. They should have said, listen, you can hate your dad all you want, but he wasn't as bad a villain as you think. You know what I mean? Like, they should have... I know you're not supposed to form your own opinion, like blah, blah, blah. Like, you shouldn't, like, force your parental opinions on your children sort of idea, but... in this case, Ace died and lived hating his dad, and the two people that he considered his parents thought the world of Roger. Yeah. So it's like, at some point, they should have sat him down and said, you're an adult now, you're not a fucking 8-year-old anymore. Listen, your dad might have been a drunk and a this and a that, but he was a great fucking man, and he was a great rival to, like, for Whitebeard, and they could both say the same thing. He was a great rival to me and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's actually a parental failure on both Whitebeard and Garp, why Ace died hating Roger, because there's no reason. He's got reason to resent his father, but nobody pushed back against that resentment. He was told, your father's a piece of shit, and nobody told him different. Up until the day he died.
Well,
he
I would just say this, and then I do want to like move on. But Whitebeard did say, kind of embodies the sins of the son are not the sins of the father, kind of thing. Like, you get to have a fresh slate. Whether your dad was a great person, a bad person, whatever, you still get to be you and have a chance to be you from start to finish.
All that did was make Ace believe, okay, I'm not Roger's son, I can be my mother's son and keep living. It still, the hatred was still at boiling point for Roger, so that didn't fix shit.
Ryan agrees with you. He said Lever's right. You don't have to force his opinion, but you should definitely present him your truth, or I guess your side.
I mean, hey.
Yeah.
the thing is, it's One Piece. They could have been like, at least your dad isn't here because he's dead. Everybody else's dads are dead beatings in this series, and they're still alive.
Lizard.
Fair enough.
Brought up.
Kuma's literally.
Fair enough.
Kuma was hanging out with the Marines, with the pirates, with the revolutionaries, and the whole time he's like, "Damn, so none of you raise your kids."
You could be Usopp right now. You could just abandon your kid and be a real piece of shit.
Bro, remember when they were like, Shanks, you want to go meet Luffy? And Usopp was like, no, I don't want to see Usopp.
Yeah, Usopp in the background in the anime was the best.
Usopp did not want to see him.
Yeah, they're all like, yeah, let's go see Luffy. He's like, no, I don't need. And I love that just a quick tangent. I love the fact that all the red hair crew are just, it's not just Shanks. Ben and all that, they want to see Luffy. They're so excited that he's so successful. They want to be, they want to go and drink and congratulate him. They want to be like, let's have a party with Luffy. He made it. Mm-hmm. You know, they're so happy for him. They're like all the uncles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so exciting. And Shanks is like, no. And they're like, fuck off. Why not?
Mm-hmm. All right.
But yeah.
Let's get into Nepo Piece and the Rocks Pirates. I find this interesting, right? So I'm gonna go through the crew members. We'll talk about them a little bit. I'm gonna save Shiki. I guess Miss Buckin. What's her? Is it Buckingham Stussy? Buckingham Stussy, right? That's Stussy. But Don Marlowe, gangster from West Blue. I know they had the five. Was it the five families in West Blue?
Yeah.
Something
Do you guys think that this guy has any relation, not necessarily familial or bloodline, but like Don Marlin reminds me of the fact that like Capone, like isn't Capone also from West Blue? And wasn't Capone's thing that he didn't even really care about being the Don necessarily like that. He just liked to take out the figurehead through like slow, elaborate schemes. And I'm wondering if this was somebody from that, like, from one of those big families that got recruited into Rocks somehow.
I think he was the original Don before it split into the five families. I think he was like, because once again, Don Marlon Brando, anybody? The Godfather, the Peak. It's and Oda loves his Western movie. You know, like I swear he'll come up with a bounty hunter named Bond. You know what I mean? Like, so fact of the matter is, I think that this is the original father before it split into the five. These are the five families, you know? And he's probably a descendant. He's probably a second cousin or something, or a nephew of some description. But yeah, this is probably the original.
Don Krieg's granddad? That's fire. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, this is the king. This is Marlon Brando, the mafia king of the West Blue, and he was on the Rocks Pirates. And it would suit the Rocks Pirates to have literally the Godfather on their crew, you know?
Okay.
That's my...
I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure they said that Bage got his, like, supernova bounty by taking out a big name. So it could be that, you know, old man Don Marlin was taken out by Bage, and that was the big name that Bage took out to get his, you know, starting supernova bounty.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I did have something to say about Shiki real quick. My fault. I totally forgot. Is he from Wano?
Shiki?
Do you guys think Shiki's from Wano? I mean, we know the old Kuros. I actually think he's a Kurozumi.
I think so because the Kurozumis have purple hair. Like
all of them?
Kama and Orochi and stuff.
Yeah,
I think all the ones we saw have purple
hair.
hair.
Really? Okay, I didn't catch that then. Never mind, my fault. I thought maybe he was a Kurozumi.
But I do think he's from Wano. And we might finally be getting somewhere with this fuck-ass cover story. We have been going, what is it, like 37 parts or something?
I know.
With Yamato?
And I'm so ready to move on from it.
It's so Wano-coded because it's long as fuck and basically nothing happened. That is like so Wano-coded. But finally, in the most recent one, they're like, oh, they're visiting a grave for somebody who was like born in, I forget if they said West Blue or South Blue, something like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe we have some kind of reveal coming. Finally.
Yeah. Oh, I can't find it right now, but Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask if you guys thought he was from Wano because he does have the swords. He looks like it, like swordsman, whatever. And for him, leaving wouldn't be a problem, assuming he has his devil fruit already, because he can just fly, right? So he could just be like, all right, fuck y'all.
I think one of the scans called him a Yakuza too, because there was like, I think one of the scans, like for all of them, it's like, okay, science-based thief, Dusty, smuggler
the
was
bandit.
the one guy. Yeah, and there was like
Shiki the Wicked.
Don Marlon was a gangster. So it's like there's like a gangster, a thief, a smuggler, and then I think it said Yakuza in one of them for Shikis, and we know that the Yakuza was a thing on Wano.
For Shiki, I did see. I want to say, what's the Sandman? Somebody was like, the way that the kanji is and like whatever, it could mean like underworld scoundrel, like and like basically what you're saying is right. Like the way it's spelled is usually things you would associate with the Yakuza. I obviously don't speak Japanese, so I can't confirm that, but I did read that somewhere.
And once again, so many dialects, like as we know, English, Spanish, French. Now you and I know, fuck, you can take context out of anything. So
yeah. And then I was gonna ask if you thought the pirate prophet Ochoku. So this is the future Commodore of Pirate Island. This is Wang Shi. Ugly as hell. It looks like Caribou to me, with the tongue and the weird face. It looks like this could be Caribou's fucking parent.
Was anybody else hoping that Wang Shi just looked like some noble samurai sort of?
I thought Wang Shi would have a more traditional kind of like Chinese design, like I'm kind of thinking like a Li Xiaoran type outfit from like Captain Sakura or something like that. Like that's what I expected.
This bothered the fuck out of me. Not that like ugly designs can't become endearing later on. Like look at Mr. 2. We love Mr. 2 and stuff. But fact is that like no, these are the Rock's crew. Don't no. They gotta all be badasses, otherwise it doesn't hit.
I do think they were setting him up just to be like Caribou and Koribu's dad, and I think that even though it gives him a goofy design, the reason they made him look like that is so that you wouldn't immediately think, oh, that's Caribou's father, because he looks more like Koribu instead.
I'll you know what? I'll take the Caribou's dad thing. Sure, whatever. At this point, because I'm so disappointed with Wang Ji's design that like I don't give a fuck about him anymore.
Well, there's another like loose connection. Like this is one of those things where I'm like, I think a lot of this could be circumstantial and I could be overblowing it, but it's like Caribou, if I remember correctly, was like weirdly religious. It was like, oh, the souls that I've taken, oh my God, oh Jesus, oh Lord, and it's like prophet. I'm like, so is that a connection? I'm like, the way your tongue looks, the head shape, it looked just like him. Like the first thing that I thought. So
yeah, the first thing I thought, I was like,
back there because obviously Wang Ji got kicked out. According to what we were told, the Blackbeard invaded Hachinosu, who Wang Ji had taken over since Rox's defeat, and then was either killed or captured or taken out. So obviously, Teach has no a familiarity with Wang, nor like any, oh, you were on my dad's crew. Well, you know.
But it also, like, it gives that connection there, because my immediate first reaction when I saw it is I was like, oh, he looks a lot like Koribu to me. So I was like, this explains the connection of why for the entire post-time skip, Caribou has been trying to get to Blackbeard. There's, like, a connection there, finally.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. But why exactly was he so interested in Blackbeard?
Why was who?
To see if his father left something behind. Caribou. Why was he so interested in part of Blackbeard?
Yeah. I think a lot of stuff is like again. I know the joke. I'm making a joke nepo piece, but I think a lot of stuff is coming full circle. Where it's like, I took out the previous ruler of Hachinosu, who used to be from work with my father, and I'm sure Teach probably was like, "You could come, you could get behind me, or get out the way," and didn't listen. But we have to remember also, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of chaos that happened there. I think Kobe was there. Was Law there too? Was this the Rocky Port incident?
Yeah.
So he could have taken advantage of a lot of the disorder there to do it, because I'm sure even in his older age, Wang Shi probably was no pushover.
Well, look at how the narrator spins everything. Like, you imagine if we hadn't seen Rayleigh show up and scare the fuck out of Blackbeard, how we would have, as readers, been told by the narrator how that happened. It would have been told Blackbeard dominated Amazon Lily, took Boa and stuff captive, and retreated randomly and stuff. You know, we would never been told that Rayleigh went in and scared him off. You know what I mean? Like it's all about it's like the paparazzi. We're being told the information from one perspective all the time, even by the narrator in One Piece. We're never given the full truth.
Yeah.
Well, true. Even at first it was like, oh, he just left with Kobe. And a lot of people were assuming Kobe probably exchanged himself to get the prisoners released, but we didn't get confirmation until, like, kind of deep into Egghead, when we got confirmation that, yeah, Kobe did, exchange himself to let the prisoners go free.
Yeah, he was like, if you release all this, we'll do this. And Rayleigh was like, are you good with that, young Marine? Yeah, okay. Blackbeard, let go of my fucking daughter, and we're good to go.
Yeah, man.
And that was the end of that.
And I do think another thing that I respect about Rocks is I would argue to some degree, pretty much anybody who was somebody on his crew after his death became something, right? So Shiki was kind of one of the top 3, if you will, in the Roger era.
Some of them became zombies.
Some of them. You're right. That's true. Because not Wang Shi, it was...
No, but that made Gekomori... I was going to argue that Gekomori...
It was Ganzui.
He obviously found the graves or whatever of the Rocks pirates, like I was about to say. He found, like, where a lot of the Rocks pirates... He obviously found the remains of God Valley or something. I assume these people
Theory
died on
I've seen...
Gekomori went, oh, ha, 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 ha. Because, like,
Theory
6 of them are on his crew.
Is that, Thriller Bark was God Valley, more tying in the islands to the future.
I'm 100%. If people want to say that Thriller Bark is the remains of God Valley, I am 100% behind that.
That's interesting. Yeah,
because
he has Captain John,
and I think the smuggler, what's his name? Sorry, Ganzui
was there. So again, that could be true. Maybe he didn't have to go look for the bodies if he made the remains of God Valley into his base. And maybe that's why he has so many.
Fucking dangerous to Kaido, because we know he was a rival to Kaido. Gekomori, from all, are we saying he got that much weaker? He got so weak he was pre-time skip Luffy's strength versus Kaido back in the day, or was he so overpowered as a crew that he rivaled Kaido?
If the God Valley incident was that crazy, then John and Ganzui could have died there, and it's not that he found their bodies anywhere else. He found them on God Valley because they never left God Valley.
Yeah.
Well, God Valley did get blasted into got destroyed. I don't know if it was the same mechanism because I think it's only recently that the Mother Flame was completed, but
so it might not be that.
Yeah, no, the Mother Flame, and people misconstrued that, and now you're absolutely right. The Mother Flame, the thing that destroyed Leloucia, is only recent. It could not have destroyed God Valley, that is confirmed, because they did not have access to the Mother Flame during God Valley. So
we know Buckingham Stussy joins the Mads. Go ahead.
One thing I've always loved as a hint with the Mother Flame stuff is when Luffy fights Doflamingo. Doflamingo's final attack is the 16 heavenly bullets or whatever, and then when we see the Mother Flame come down, it's 16 beams of light.
Oh yeah.
And we know that Dofi knew stuff about the world government that everybody was afraid he would say about the world government. So there's a chance that Dofi knew about whatever the ancient weapon was.
I think he knew.
Oh, of course Dofi knew.
I'm almost positive he knows.
I think he knew. But nah, man. Shout out to the Rocks Pirates. I wonder. I think Gloriosa went back home, right?
Yeah, Gloriosa's Granny Nyon.
Yeah. She went back home.
No, I think, I don't know if there was anime filler, but she said that she would have suffered from love sickness and chose to leave and go back to her island to avoid the love sickness.
Okay.
So I think that she either fell in love with Whitebeard, Shiki, somebody like that, and then said, nope, fuck this, and she avoided the curse, unlike Boa and obviously Shockey with Rayleigh and stuff like that. You know, so we don't know, but I believe that there was something in an SBS or something where it said that she was all powerful, but she left because she did contract love sickness. Said, nope, not gonna die.
The last. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I thought you die from the love sickness if you don't stay with.
No. She said you can. There was something about that. She goes, I kind of fibbed. There was. What did she say? She said to Boa. She said that to threaten her, but then basically said, "Well, I kind of fibbed it just so you wouldn't do it," or something like that. Like there's
Are
a
you
way.
sure? Because isn't that what Boa's mother died from? Love sickness? Because she didn't go.
Boa's mother, yeah, no, the one between, the one between Boa and Shockey did die from love sickness, but I thought Gloriosa.
During her time as Empress, Gloriosa fell in love with an unnamed man and suffered love sickness. To survive, she chose to leave Amazon Lily and follow him. It has been implied she joined Rocks, yada yada yada. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So, okay. So sorry, I had the mesh. Fuck, I mixed it up. She left Amazon Lily to be with the dude that she fell in love sickness with, not the other way around. My bad.
Oh, also, just as a complete side note, because I did learn this randomly recently, the 4-armed, like, zombie that we saw, and one of the kind of people you don't really know who it is in, like, the Rocks kind of silhouette, his name is Gil Bastar, and he was the main character of the one-shot Wanted that Oda did, and he kind of just threw him in one piece, and he's on Rox's crew, just so you guys know.
He does that.
That was a pretty cool detail.
I'm pretty sure he was also a zombie on
Yes,
Thriller Bark.
he had 4 arms with the guns
People
and
thought
everything.
that Hogback had added the arms because of all the stitches, but no, he always had the 4 arms.
So while we are on Nepo piece, the only character, I saw so many people saying things about Gonzui, the only character that I thought looked like Gonzui was Patty. I was like, Patty from the Baradier descended from one of the Rocks pirates.
Yo, shout out to my guy Patty. He be cooking, he be chefing. It was actually all the Baldur of the interior God Valley destroyed the island. That unknown man is Shiki Trust. I actually have a feeling Shiki might pop back up in the story. I would like to see him. I know Strong World is not canon, and he's had like a 20-year plan. But I wonder where he's at. I don't think he's dead, so I wonder where he's at. What is he doing?
No, Shiki's 100% alive.
Yeah. And I wanted to say this because I love this line. So Harold's basically like, your enemies are too big, you're picking a fight with the whole planet, say what you want, but someday someone's bound to pull it off. There's no such thing as power that lasts forever. I love that line because it's a self-admittance that even if I'm on top, someday someone will take it from me. But for whatever time period I can reign, give me that. I want it. If that's 2 weeks, give me the 2 weeks, the king of the world. It's better than 0. I love that line so much.
I told you before you texted me today. I said I was watching some anime with a friend of mine. We were finishing one of your and my favorite series, 7 Deadly Sins, who he had seen for the first time. Last 3 episodes, you should know what's coming here. So with that argument is the whole idea of the entire argument of that was Arthur's in the entire 7 Deadly Sins thing was the whole, that's what Cass' argument was. Okay, you restore Camelot for what? 20 years? 50 years? 100 years? Eventually, everything dies. So why are you fighting at all and stuff? And it was that negative side of your argument there. And it's funny that you brought it up because I just finished watching that with my friend, and he was like, "My God, this really did die after Escanor did." And I said, "Yeah, it did." But anyways, yeah. And I was like, "Yeah." So it's interesting when you say that, like, because when you talk about that ideal that, you know, as you said, I think we would all in the call pull different than Arthur Pendragon in 7. We wouldn't fall into despair. We would be like, I'm going to be king of the world for a minute, a day, a year, 100 years. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna back down for that. So the idea that argument, negative is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, maybe Canada falls in 100 years. I ain't gonna live to see it. I'm just gonna do what I can if I'm leading Canada tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Nations rise and nations falls. Kingdoms crumble. It is what it is. Like, I like the reality.
You saying that?
Hmm?
You saying that reminded me again. I am going to, of all things, throw in Tower of God here.
Okay.
Revolution and Tower of God, their whole thing is that the natural order of things is for the old generation to die out and the new generation to come in. And by the rulers being immortal, you're basically going against the natural order of things by not dying out and leaving it to the next generation. And
Ooh,
inherited will
that.
is, again, a huge thing in One Piece. So it could be a thing, too, with Rocks, where Rocks might be like, the natural thing is for the old generation to die out, the new generation to come in, but by Emu being immortal and setting up the world government and everything, you're basically going against the natural order of things. You're not giving way to the next generation.
Interesting.
Oh, I just realized both Rocks and Roger actually were after the same thing because they both said, it's not our job. Rocks was right there in the flower room and he goes, I'll be back one day. And Roger said he laughed that we were there too early. Like, they both realized no matter how powerful or how awesome we are, it's not our job. It's the children's job. It's our children's. It's the next gen's. Yeah.
I don't know why you saying that. Just reminded me of of Rogers being like, Don't worry, Neptune. I won't come back and kidnap your hairy daughter." I don't know why.
He did say that.
She will not be hairy. I want to talk about Loki a little bit. Loki had a line in this chapter that broke my heart a little bit, where he said, "You seriously expect my father to drop everything and come back to Elbaf just because I'm hurt? Yo, he's a damaged kid, bro."
We already saw that, remember?
What his mom did to him and a little bit of the neglect that he got from Harold and what everyone's done around him has really made him like devoid of love. And I just wanted your guys' thoughts on him being inspired by Rocks, and that being the first time you almost see a genuine, real smile from him. Like, wait, I could just become king of the world?
Yeah, I like the idea that he is like, he has this hole in his heart from not being loved or feeling like he wasn't loved, to the point where he just destroys and destroys, but it doesn't make him feel any better. And at this point, like when we see him in the present time, he says that his dream is to destroy the world. So he's still just, inspired by Rock saying, I'll take the world. He's like, oh, worldwide scale? I'll just destroy everything. And he's like chasing something that isn't making him feel any better.
From my perspective, what I don't like is that there's obviously a difference between a father's love and a mother's love. And as someone who grew up with two parents who are still together, I don't know what the loss is. I just watch a lot of drama television, but I assume that they feel different. And the fact of the matter is that by the time he had been so rejected from his mother's love, as we saw in the chapters as a baby, he couldn't even accept his father's love, because Harold might have been, as Naya pointed out, a little neglectful and stuff like that, going off and doing. Once again, he's a king of a kingdom. He's trying to do his shit. Not gonna say he's a bad dad, but shit happens. And fact of the matter is that he, at that point, they even said Loki had closed off his heart to love, so he immediately could not accept, even though Harold was trying to be a good dad for him.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't accept that his dad was going to be any different from his mother. So he wasn't even listening to the words. They went in one ear out the other. And then when Rocks and Whitebeard and everybody showed up, I noticed he only focused on Rocks. Whitebeard was the only one to say, "Hey kid, why are you crying?" Mm-hmm. The only one who gave a shit.
Yay.
The only one who cared.
Big Abdel
Peace.
Would not hear it. He would not listen.
No.
You know, he didn't answer Whitebeard. He answered Rocks. So I think it was the whole.
Peace.
At that point, he can't recognize love, but he can recognize strength.
But here's
strength as a strength.
But here's what I find interesting about that too, right?
Mm.
It's obviously we understand that Loki wants that to some degree, even though he's kind of closed. He's closed his heart off to it. But we know at some point he proposes to Lola, and still gets rejected. What do you think that did to him?
I'm curious if he did that under obligation, though. We don't have the context for that. So I'm not buying the fact that this man was closed off to Whitebeard's acceptance, to fucking his own
Lola fumbled one hell of a bag.
And then all of a sudden went, oh my god, I'm infatuated with obviously a woman he might have seen even once in his life, and he's like, oh my god, she gave me a flower. It's like, no, Harold and Whitebeard, like, it won't make sense for the character because Harold tried to shower him with affection and love. It didn't work because he's got his walls up. Whitebeard tried to show concern. Didn't work. What are we gonna say? He had the boner that broke through the fucking iron wall of his heart. Like, I'm not buying that. You know, that's cheap. It's done in romance. It's done in rom-coms that are for fucking pay-per-view. That's so cheap. I'm not buying that. I think it was an arranged marriage that fell through. That's all it was. It was Big Mom's tactics, as she pointed out. Remember, this is Big Mom's idea. Everyone seems to forget that. Big Mom wanted one of every race. She was the one talking to the Giants, not the other way around. So she was setting up, and they were like, the Giants were probably like, oh, fuck. Give them the problem prince. Jesus Christ. Maybe they'll take Loki off our fucking hands.
You know,
like,
what?
We see that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think that when we get the details of it, I think it was a totally arranged marriage, and it didn't piss Loki off or anything like that. He hasn't mentioned her once since we've actually met the Loki. You know?
We gotta see Hyradine's sigh of relief when he finds out that Loki was the one chosen to marry Lola.
yeah, no shit. And that's my point, is that it was probably an arranged marriage because, once again, Big Mom, this is what people tend to forget because I've seen this argument. Big Mom's the one trying to get the Giants on her side. The Giants hate Big Mom, want nothing to do with her. So they would have never proposed, hey, Loki, go travel the Whole Cake Island and meet some fucking women. No, Big Mom would have said, hey, I got like 63 daughters. Any of them good for you? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, she's trying to bargain. She's the one who was the collector. She's the one who wants all the giant, you know? So, yeah, no, I'm not. I think Loki doesn't give two fucks about that.
No, so I did remember this correctly. It said that Loki fell in love with her at first sight. It did become a political marriage, but Loki's the one that tried to initiate it, and that's when Lola ran away in general to go find her true loved one.
Okay, all right, then I retract my previous statement. I'm full of shit.
The guy rejected by his mother, rejected by the woman he fell in love with at first sight.
All right, so he hates all women, and he's justified to do so. Love it.
He's a giant incel. It's crazy. Being a giant incel is crazy, but
They do have him chained up in the basement.
I was gonna ask.
I was gonna show you my basement here, but the three women I got chained up, they're not gonna. They don't want to be shown on camera.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly, this is live.
I at this point in time, we spoke about this a little bit earlier. Feel that Elbaf can become one of my favorite arcs in One Piece, I think maybe like top 5 potential. How are we feeling about Elbaf at this point in time overall, from top to bottom? Not just the last 2 or 3 chapters, but like Xebec or whatever. Like, I think this has been really solid. Like, this has reinvigorated my love and joy for One Piece in so many ways I thought was gone.
It could be in my top 5. It depends on how the rest of the arc plays out. Right now, it's not quite there. It's in the top 10, easy. Like, it's It's pushing to get into that top 5 spot. But it's not quite top 5 yet. I got to see how everything else plays out. That's for me.
That is totally
Right
fair.
now. Oh, you can go back.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't been as down on One Piece as most. Thoroughly enjoying the entire post skip, honestly. But I feel like so far, I said Wano. Elbaf is probably the best post time skip arc, and overall, it probably has top 3 One Piece arcs, depending on how it ends.
Wow. Okay.
Because not even with the Rocks flashback, but like just Emu showing up and the amount of presence that he's been commanding. Like he pulled up, he's like looking at a what's his name?
Sorry, who?
The Holy Knight. Not Killingham, the other one.
Summers?
Yeah. He looked at Summers, he's like, bro, get the fuck up. Like, what are you doing? And then he looks at Killingham and he's like, Killingham, is this the best that your devil fruit can do? Like, really? Like, I'm over here wasting my time. Mary Jaws in shambles, which is another thing that we have to touch back on, by the way. We don't know exactly what's going on over there. Because time moves differently on Elbaf than it does outside. So I just feel like there's a lot of moving pieces going on right here. Like, once they get off the island, like the post arc reveal of what's going on around the rest of the world is going to hit so different.
Okay.
For me, I think it is up there with pre-time skip arcs. So for me, I hold pre-time skip One Piece up there with like Avatar: The Last Airbender as like no story is perfect, but like as close to perfect as you can get.
It's a
I
masterpiece.
think pre-time skip One Piece is that for me. But then as soon as we get into the post-time skip, Fishman Island, it's all right, not the best. I like Punk Hazard, but again, it feels like the story quality is down like as soon as we're in the post time skip, to the point where we get to Wano. And Wano, for me, I always say, I know Naya disagrees, but he's read more shonen than me, but I'm like, it is for me my least favorite shonen arc ever. I really can't stand Wano.
Brother. There's plenty of worse arcs than Wano, I promise.
Like,
I will stand here and I will.
Wano actually has a decent payoff at the end of it. Some of these arcs that I've read, absolutely horrendous.
Like,
I'm gonna say right now, Wano is my favorite post-time skip arc as a whole.
I really dislike Wano, and even toward the end of Wano, it got me to the point where I had been making One Piece videos for like, I don't know, 5 to 7 years or something, but it got me to stop making videos because I was like, I just do not want to talk about this anymore. But then Egghead brought me back in. I really liked Egghead, and I think that Elbaf not only has kept up with Egghead, but Egghead still had things here and there that I wasn't a fan of, even though I thought it was great. This doesn't have anything I don't like so far. Right from the beginning, we get a fun adventure with the original 6 Straw Hats. Going from there, this has some really fun arc characters. It has some of the best villains in the series, I think, so far. I think when it comes to villain groups, the God Knights have just been really cool. Like, none of them are just goofy whatever characters. They're all really cool. And honestly, I don't know if this is a power scaling hot take, but me personally, I think that any of the God Knights would at least be a fight against an Admiral or Yonko. They might not beat them, but I think any of them would at least be a fight to them. So they're strong, they're cool, they all have good designs, art characters have been great, the villains have been great, and now we're getting into flashbacks. And these flashbacks have been really, really good so far. Like, so much more than what I expected from them.
I'm with you. The only thing I'll say was quote unquote goofy was Summers like chilling in his like living room and getting summoned in his underwear. But listen,
I mean,
he was chilling. He was chilling at home. Like he didn't know it was gonna happen. You'd catch me slipping like that, and I'd be butt ass naked. It'd be worse because my room's hot. So
I don't want to I don't want to start a whole power scaling thing either. But the problem that I have with the God's Knights is not that they're introduced and not that they're badass designs and not that they're cool and they have cool devil fruits. What I don't like is that until eventually, once we get the answer to battling the regen factor that isn't advanced Conquerors hockey, then I'll be happy. But introducing a group 30 years later, 12 new characters that we've never heard of or seen before, who all of a sudden only Zoro and Luffy can fight, I'm not that happy about. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I don't like, because it makes Jinbei, Robin, Sanji, all these characters who have all their powers, but if you don't have Conqueror Saki, well, then we're fucked in the final battle.
I have issues with the concept of Holy Knights the same way you do to some degree, but it was one of those things where I told myself, I'm not gonna jump the gun yet. I'm gonna stay cautiously. That's what I mean. I'm gonna stay cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, but I'm hoping there's a workaround that Scopper is bringing Chopper. That's all I'm talking about. I'm hoping that Scopper, because Scopper was there, Gamon was there saying like, Zoro, pick your shit the fuck up. What the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be me or Rayleigh, and you're slacking. And Zoro's like, shit, sorry, man. But everybody else is like, wait a minute now. So Chopper said he did something. And it wasn't permanent, by the way, because Summers slowly regained his regen. So he didn't die, but he did something different. Was it just Conqueror's hockey, or was there something different? So Chopper's going to find out. I hope there's something, because otherwise it just means that none of the fights involving any of the top 20 characters is going to matter other than Luffy and Zoro going forward. And
there is a good chance, though, that it's not a Conqueror's thing, because this whole regeneration seems to be part of Imu's devil fruit, and we've seen with these devil fruit abilities before, instead of Conquerors, for Crocodile it was water. For Moria, remember, we didn't know how to deal with all of Moria's zombies because they would just keep healing, but then they figured out that it's salt. And then there was somebody else, or like sugar with the doll, or sugar with the doll fruit. There was something. So I think this might not be Conquerors.
It was a spicy Hanna-Barbera pepper shot.
Yeah. So I think it might be something like that again.
Due to his devil fruit ability, like Imu's devil fruit is what's creating all these holy knights in the regen.
Yeah, I think so, because
no, I like the theory. I'm just saying.
Well, it seems to be like a devil or demon related fruit, because Imu pulled out the book and was able to basically make a contract to use Domi Reversi and start turning people into demons, was able to summon things, and they said that you need to have the mark to travel through the abyss. So I would say that the abyss has to have something with Imu's devil fruit then. And then on top of that, Imu was able to take away the immortality from Saturn. And then Saturn just aged and died. So I do think the immortality is part of Imu's devil fruit. So I think that much like the other devil fruits, there's probably some sort of way to deal with it because of that.
I didn't apply that to a devil fruit, but now that you said that, that actually makes sense, and it means that we do have other ways to counteract it other than Conqueror's hockey, which I do appreciate, because I don't want it that way. I literally don't. I want Sanjay, Jinbei, Robin, Chopper. I want them to be able to go toe-to-toe with God's Knights. Like, I don't want to introduce 24 new people that none of our main characters can fight. You know what I mean? Because regen, because Majin Buu rule. You know what I mean?
Also, I've got to say,
40 years ago.
I'm really excited for this Brook stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, if you guys have any... Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, what? No, I just said I'm just really excited for more backstory.
Yeah. Looks like he has some connection with Gunko. With Gunko.
Yeah.
And now that we know she's probably been alive for so long, because that seems to be the person in the room of authority or flower room, whatever.
So was she Brook's daughter? Let's ask the question.
I don't think Brook had a kid.
I think, if anything, she might have been Yorkie's daughter, because she looks kind of like Yorkie. A lot of people
brought that up. She's Yorkie's daughter. But obviously Brook knows her, so what, if you had to list it, so we all agree, we said, nah, it's probably not Brook's daughter. So Yorkie's kid, probably the best theory right now.
Probably. But also, so my theory for Gunko was totally wrong. So my theory this whole time, and even when we did the last One Piece discussion, I said that I thought that Gunko was going to be from the Nerona family, so she was a descendant of Imu. But then when the volume release came out, they changed Gunko's intro box, and her intro box in the volume release says Saint Manmayer Gunko. So now we know that she's from the Manmayer family, which would mean that Yorkie, much like Shanks or Dofi, is sort of like I don't know what the term would be, a fallen celestial dragon, essentially.
Mm-hmm. But how do you
But
explain seeing basically Gunko, from what we understand, in the flower room with Xebec?
I think that just could have been maybe when she got the mark to become a God's Knight, if that's 40-some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
But yeah,
let's
that's
say
40-some years ago. She looks...
Brooke,
Brooke's
Brooke's been dead for like, what, 52 years? Right?
Yeah, and
So
see, here's the problem, because everyone says, "Oh, well, time doesn't matter if they get the mark," but look at Garling.
yeah, that's
So,
the one thing I don't get. I don't get why Garling is old now, if they
Garling
have
is
the
old,
mark,
and
Well,
now
Garling,
and
Gar,
Gunko's not.
yeah, we
Garling.
have weird rules.
Unless it's a special thing, if Imu can make contracts, like contracts with the devil, maybe Gunko's specific contract makes it so that she can't age, and that's also maybe why Imu can take over Gunko's body, but maybe not the others.
I forgot what I was gonna say, but I'm
Sorry.
assuming his captain was a holy knight and Brooke was a regular kingdom knight, and they met in a reverie 56 years ago. Imu be wanting a Lily stand-in side piece. No, the Brooke thing's interesting though, but I don't know what to do with it yet. I don't really have any strong opinions or theories. I'm willing to let it play out.
I do think adding in this like deeper stuff for a random like character from another character's past, like Yorkie, I do think that would still make sense because we just did it last arc, where before we knew that Clover was a scholar and everything, but then in Egghead we were like, no, actually Clover wasn't just a scholar, but he was this crazy awesome pirate that was going around and searching the poneglyph stuff, and he was doing it because he was Cloud D Clover, and his brother was killed for having the Will of D, and that's why he's going around doing this. So we just added like a bunch of lore for one of the flashback characters last arc. So I feel like if we did that again for Yorkie, it wouldn't really be super surprising.
Yeah.
Also, one quick thing: we are all assuming that the one in the flower capital is Gunko, with the Xebec flashback, when we literally did the Shamrock bullshittery. So this could be her mother, this could be her sister, this could not be Gunko at all. We're just assuming because she has a similar design.
Her features changed completely when Imu took over her body. And then now it looks like she's under her own autonomy, and then she looks like the way she looks now in the past.
Yeah.
So it could be somebody related to Gunko.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced it's another red herring, just like the whole I want to talk, which to this day, by the way, we still have no confirmation who walked into the room of authority and said, I want to talk about a certain pirate. Was it Shanks or was it Shamrock? We can assume it was Shamrock.
Well, I actually think it might be Shanks.
We don't have any evidence to say it wasn't Shanks.
I actually think it might be Shanks, and the pirate could be Teach because of Teach being Xebec's son. Because when we first see the meeting between Shanks and Whitebeard, Shanks is like, you can't let Ace go after Teach. They can't meet each other. Teach is more dangerous than this. Teach is special. And if Shanks was like saying all that about Teach and Whitebeard wouldn't listen, Whitebeard was like, this is my crew, they're my sons, I have to let one of my sons go get revenge for my other son that was murdered. Whitebeard wouldn't listen to Shanks, so there's the chance that Shanks then was like, okay, Blackbeard is now a Yonko, he just keeps getting more and more power. I haven't been able to go to anybody else, maybe I need to go tell the world government what I know about Teach.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
That makes sense.
Isn't it great when like 4 good minds come together and actually have a consensus, and we're like, yeah, we got this shit. We solved One Piece.
Maybe Garling ain't get Emu's power until just now. Emu can take lifespan for Domi Reversi, so maybe he didn't make her immortal. Maybe
Or
he
maybe,
just
maybe.
Go
Hold
ahead.
on. I think maybe the family of the supreme commanders of the Holy Knights were special.
Talk to me.
Like maybe the Figurelands are special and they can't get the same contract.
Yeah, because like when he came into the room to talk to the remaining Goro, say, well, there's only 4 of them, I guess. What would you even call that? I don't know.
If we assume he gave him the
Well,
mark, though.
he took over Jay Garcia's position now as the minister.
So he
of
was
Yeah,
already
he
Defense.
took over his spot, but he didn't look like he was augmented in any way. And then like going back to the flashbacks and basically what we've seen of Garland, what little we've seen of him, he was in action. He was under his own like power and things like that.
I think that the comment in chat was good. It could be that giving or taking lifespans is just part of the contracts that Emu makes, and Emu could just be using the contract to prolong Gunko's life.
Yeah.
And it's not like super crazy for things that we've seen before, because Big Mom could take and give lifespan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have that in other realm fiction. I can't think of the one, but yeah, that's how someone else prolonged their life. It was like, I'm gonna take the 70 years off of your life, and then I'm gonna prolong my own by 70 years and stuff. So, yeah.
Lizard said my guess was that Gunko was the princess from the country that Brooke served at before becoming a pirate.
Maybe.
It was their
Oh,
third-
right, because he
was-
was like captain of the guard or something like that. He was like a holy knight of another kingdom.
Sometime at night, yeah.
Yeah.
He said it was their third brother Stabs, and he was talking about Buggy. I forgot to mention that people have been saying that Xebec is also Buggy's dad, and their wanted poster poses the same. I don't know if anyone...
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
we've seen that.
I've seen all the memes of like Rox's
You know
face
what,
beside all these other characters' faces, and I'm not gonna lie to you. To me personally, Rox's face does look the most like Buggy's face in those.
No,
but I
I'll
think that
argue.
could just be an art style thing, because we know how often people complain about just Nami face on all of the characters.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna argue 100%. He looks like, seriously, swap out the hair, Bellamy. He's 100% Bellamy's face when he's fighting Luffy. So I'm sitting there, and I said this in my review. I said, this is the reason it was just in the brackets. Oda did not want to start this flame war. He just said, this is Blackbeard's father, for God's sakes. I'm not playing this game. I'm not going to deal with the theory for another 15 fucking years. Blackbeard's daddy, let's go. And because it looks like Bellamy, it looks like Buggy, it looks like Teach, it looks like fucking Magellan, for God's sake, it looks like everybody. So it's like,
Reminds me of back during the
have that. He's like Toriyama. He doesn't draw that many distinctive eyes, okay? He has evil eyes, he has female eyes, and he has cool eyes. That's all he's got.
I do think it's just an art style thing, and what you're saying reminds me of back when Sanji's family was first announced, revealed, whatever, and so people were like, oh, we're Sanji's brother's killer because he's always wearing the mask, and Bellamy because Sanji just happened to not meet Bellamy in either Jaya or Dressrosa.
Yeah, just because they had blonde hair and he was wearing a mask, I thought they were related. My goodness.
Yeah, so that kind of reminds me of that. I do think it's mostly just an art style thing, but if Buggy was Rox's kid, and like one of Rox's kids ended up on Roger's crew and the other ended up on Whitebeard's crew, I wouldn't hate it. And I also wouldn't hate it because I mentioned going back and rewatching things, and in like early pre-time skip One Piece, there was constantly stuff like that, like with Water 7, when it's like, oh yeah, Kiwi and Mozu and Polly just happened to be there around the Tom's Worker stuff, enamored by the sea train, and that explains how they grew up to be adults and then came connected to everything. And oh yeah, back in Alabasta, it's like Koza just happened to have this connection, not just with Vivi and stuff, but also he trained with Chaka. And like anytime there needed to be an emotional moment, there would be like, oh yeah, these characters do have a connection. So since that happened so much pre-time skip, like when One Piece was arguably peak for me, I don't hate it in the post-time skip, like if we get moments like that.
Okay.
And to go with the chat, never hating the killer brother idea. Neither did I, really. It would have been fine if it had happened. The fact that it didn't bother me, but I would have been cool with it, depending on how Oda would have spun it. You know.
I hated it because there was no
Once it
substance
happened,
to the argument.
it was like fine.
I still think, you know, speaking of the million balls Oda dropped in Wano, one of the big dropped balls, Sasaki totally should have been Kokoro's kid. Because he looked like Kokoro, and he had the fight against Frankie. Like, that seemed like such a layup that just didn't go anywhere. But that's the story of Wano.
Well,
Said he looks like Kokoro.
Wano had a lot of Wano had, in my with Wano across all One Piece arcs, is that most One Piece arcs punch 75. Wano punched 150, and the problem is that they miss 75. But they still hit the other 75. You know what I'm saying? So like, because it was so long, there were so many hits, but there were so many misses that so many people look negatively upon it as a result of being so long and so many misses. Stuff like that.
I don't want to get too off topic with it because I could talk about Wano for like hours and hours, but I would say it's more like 145 misses out of 150. I mean, we had stuff like wasting all our time on, whoa, this samurai, he's so much like Zoro. Whoa, there's all the time Yamato spent in the cave with these samurai that just happened to look a lot like the numbers, and for some reason the numbers really like Yamato a lot, and then Oda's like, oh no, that's completely unrelated. The random samurai just didn't do fuck all. Oh, the numbers are actually just random stuff we got from Punk Hazard or whatever. Oh, Zoro actually completely unrelated to this stuff. Oh, Carrot, you know, she's inheriting Pedro's will and everything. Pedro's will, the guy who went out, set sail, and tried to find the poneglyphs to sail with Roger and everything, she's inheriting his will by going to Zoe and becoming queen. Something that doesn't make sense for her character inheriting his will, and also doesn't make sense in canon, because why are you promoting the person who lost a Pero Sparrow to guard one of the poneglyphs and be queen?
well, that's all
I
fair.
mean, I got
That's all
rooftop
fair.
gang.
That's all fair. But does anyone have anything else they want to chime in or say about Elbaf for the recent chapters, Rocks, anybody, Whitebeard, all that for the time being?
I just
I
really. Oh, sorry, Pat. You go first.
Okay. I was just gonna say I want to get on my high horse for a second and come for every last one of you niggas that don't understand long-term payoff. For years, I sat through people telling me that, oh, One Piece is good, but it has moments where it's completely trashed when they're talking about Longland or they're talking about Thriller Bark. And this just goes to show me you guys cannot see the forest for the trees, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of these arcs that Oda did in the beginning of One Piece have some sort of importance or credits to what we're experiencing right now. Like the Longland gave us Davy Back fight, and like Naya's always harping on, it showed us that matchups matter. You know, so it's not always about who's stronger than who. It's more about how their personalities line up, how their techniques line up, how their abilities line up. And it also showed us that, hey, in order to get a pirate crew, there's more than one way to go about it. Either do the Davy Back fight and then have people join your crew by winning a series of battles, or you can just lead with charisma like Roger. And then on top of that, we have Thriller Bark. Thriller Bark, we have the stuff that happened between Loki and Lola. We don't know the full details there, but what we know is that Loki fell in love with her supposedly, and then the marriage didn't go through. Now we're seeing the fallout of that, and also with the Rocks Pirates, Captain John's body over there, and Guangzi, and all these guys. And it's just like, bro, y'all need to pay attention. when y'all read it. Y'all always looking for some sort of hype moment, some moment to rally behind, something to stand for. Maybe just read. That's all I want to say.
Longland is fucking
I agree.
incredible. Don't care. You can suck the longest hair in my ass. That's a great arc.
I agree. And also, like, even if things didn't all connect up, I feel like, for me, something like One Piece is an adventure. Can't you just enjoy the adventure? That's why I actually love all the filler and stuff. I miss filler arcs in anime, and I feel like Naruto Shippuden ruined it for everybody. Because you look at, like, old Naruto filler arcs, and it's like they were actually going on ninja missions, developing the side characters, like, they were doing stuff. You look at Bleach filler arcs, and some of the Bleach filler arcs are better than the canon arcs, in my opinion. Then, for, like,
Let's not get
old pre-time skip One Piece, like, when we had a filler arc, it would be like, because One Piece's structure is like going island to island, so they would just throw in an extra island, like G8 or the Warship Island stuff, the Rainbow Mist stuff. They would just throw in an extra island, and it's like, that's just a fun part of the journey to just chill and enjoy. But then, of course, Naruto Shippuden's filler was awful, and we never get good filler anymore.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the Naruto filler arc did more for the side characters than Oda ever did.
Mm-hmm.
For mine, I'm gonna bounce off of what Lizard is saying here and agreeing 100% that it is not a pirate's job to overthrow the fucking world government, people. Jesus H. Christ. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely agree with his point that even if the world government was a super good force, Rocks would still want to overtake them and overthrow them. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. The fact of the matter is that, okay, whether the world government is evil or the best thing since sliced goddamn bread, it's not Roger, Xebec, Whitebeard, or Luffy's job to correct the world. That's literally why Oda introduced the revolutionaries. Yeah. So let them do their shit.
They're led by a fucking loser.
We following? Is the manga called The Revolutionaries, or is it called One Piece?
Dragon really thinks he's red. Ellipses. ... is all he does. I'm sick and tired of him.
Yeah, Dragon is not going after the One Piece.
I'm sick and tired of Dragon. He sucks.
I love that Dragon said, you know,
that shit. And as
Dragon
far as
said
filler arcs go, as patents and pointing out, it's like, yeah, Bleach knew what it was doing. By the way, like, Naya and I enjoying me, and Pat, I know you've been enjoying the fact that fucking Naya has now understood the 1,000-Year Blood War arc amazingness now that the anime has come out and stuff. But Bleach filler arcs were actually far better, and the Naruto stuff with the filler was just abysmal. And it's just like, yeah, you need to stop that shit. You need to stop making these terrible filler arcs. If you're gonna make a filler arc, make it entertaining. Make it comedy. Do whatever you want. Do, you know,
the Raditz of the Monkey D family.
Exactly. So do slice of life. Do shit like that. Never try to invent these things, because then it just comes back to bite the community in the ass, and it's just awful. So my big thing to take away from this is Elbaf is quickly going to become one of the top 5 arcs of One Piece. Assuming that Oda doesn't falter, it's easily going to be a top 5 One Piece arc, bar none, by the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to it. That's all I can say.
Okay, what I wanted to get out is I love how Dragon said, when the God's Knights make their move, we'll make our move. And we all thought, oh, that means, or like everybody thought, oh, that means that when the God Knights make their move, the revolutionaries are going to move to counter them. No, it was the raddest move ever. They were like, when the God Knights make their move and leave Meriwa, we can maybe attack then. We're going to wait for them to leave before we attack. It's like, when they make their move, we'll make our move.
To be fair, who the fuck other than Sabo, Ivankov, and fucking Dragon do they have? Let's assume Dragon is some like Garp level power.
I don't know. Karasu and Morley were handling Fujitora and Ryokugyu. freaking Greenbull is the biggest fraud on the second
but
biggest fraud on the planet. Dragon
apparently we have
exists.
12 of these fuckers who they can't die, as far as we know, you know what I mean? So it's like, all right, to be fair to Dragon's strategy, it's not bad to get like some of the God's Knights out of the fucking picture before he invades.
But remember, time moves differently on Elbaf. And when Emo pulled up, he
everyone hates me. Pat, do you agree with that theory? Because everyone hates me for that theory.
What theory? That time moves differently on Elbaf?
That time is obviously moving different on Elbaf.
It's a fact. If they're paying attention, they should know.
Thank you.
The time moves differently on Elbaf. When Emu pulled up, he said Mary was in flames.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Pat.
So right now, Dragon might have made his move already. They might have attacked. So when we finish Elbaf, like I'm saying, when Elbaf is done,
do you think that's why Emu said the Holy Land's in shambles and Shamrock has to come back?
Yeah, because time, like Pat, agree with me here, but time was so far that Dragon attacked and everything happened, and 3 months went by, and so now they're like, oh, that was a day? Great.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, y'all. I think Elbaf has been really incredible, and like the last thing that I'm just gonna say before we move on is that I'm so happy with what we're seeing right now. This flashback's been incredible, and I can't wait to see Loki get active. He's one of the characters that I want to see what he could really do. Like he just looks so raw. I'm rooting for him, man. Especially knowing more about his upbringing, I'm really rooting for Loki to come through and do what needs to be done. As a complete side note, I feel like if I was in One Piece, right, especially if I was a hockey man, the moment something's happening that I don't like, I'm trying to submerge you in the water, bro. I'm taking you in the water with me, and I'm just gonna watch you drown. Like, if I have to fight Summers and he's doing all this, I'm trying to jump off the tree into the ocean and just see if he doesn't drown, then I'll give up. I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on, bro. I'll figure this out later. But now I'm trying to. I would jump in the ocean with so many people. Is what I'm saying. Caribou would be dead. If Caribou was in a barrel on my ship when we're going to Fishman Island, I would have thrown him in the ocean so fast, no hesitation. I don't care. Die.
If you were a strong and non-devil fruit user, literally just swim, and you beat anyone. Like, you come out on top against anyone, but like maybe Aokiji, because he can freeze the water and run on it.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, it's like, oh, you want to kill me? The Marines are hunting me down or whatever? I'm just gonna swim.
So yeah. So, do you guys? Sorry, not you guys. I'll ask you if you think they're alive. I guess Kid is the only one, but with Kid and Law, where are they right now? Will we see them again? And do you care about either or?
I mean,
Kid
I feel
and
like
or
they've
Law
been so important that we have to see them again, but I'm like, is Kid just fucking dead? He got blown up off the coast of Elbaf, and we're like 30 some chapters deep, and he isn't here. So did he just die?
I think he's alive.
Like, are we supposed to just take it legit? Okay, Shanks did just take out the crew. They are just gone now, because I don't see why we haven't seen them yet, or any effects of them whatsoever on Wano. Or not Wano, Elbaf.
KG says, I think Law's joining Cross Guild and Kid is joining Blackbeard. I know we kind of forgot about it, but this flashback is supposed to be about what actually happened to King Harold during his death. So the end part of the flashback, Def has to focus on the entire thing. It'll circle back because he's met Rocks and stuff. This is why it was a good opportunity to introduce Rocks. Law might link with Cross Guild, given how he was talking about him when he was in Wano, talking about Buggy. Interesting. What do you guys think? If you care, if you don't, you could say I don't give a damn. If you don't care, you don't care. It's fine. That's a fair answer too.
I don't know. I honestly don't see it. Especially, I think Law will probably end up back over where the Straw Hats are again at some point, because that was the whole thing that Beppo was like, we gotta go find the Straw Hats, and he swam off with Law. So, eventually, I think they're just gonna be back with the Straw Hats.
I think they both have role to play, especially because Kid says something about the man marked by. Still have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
And with Law, I know Law's gonna come back because he's a fan favorite. Oda literally said he drafted up a whole backstory and stuff for Law because he's popular plus. So he,
Okay.
now what he's gonna be doing, clue whatsoever, but I know for sure he's gonna be back.
Okay.
With Kid, I'm just interested to who exactly who chasing after and what goal. Like I know he wants to be pirate, but like what?
Kid is the one that I don't know about. I know Law's okay. It's just what does he do after this?
Just out of curiosity, do you think that Oda made sort of the shonen mistake of introducing like, okay, here's 11 new characters and their crews. They're all gonna be go, and then
I actually would say this, right? I think the supernovas or whatever, like I know worst generation, but you have to add Blackbeard when you say that. I think some of the ideas were to showcase that even though had a lot of potential or maybe got there through their own means, not all of them were destined to get to the mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I would argue that my guy Hawkins, that was a showcase of like, brother, you can't just avoid smoke your entire life and think you're gonna make it to the top of the mountain. It doesn't work that way.
He did it for 3 years.
Pooh,
he did a good job.
You're kind of a just like you just suck. And your powers suck. With like Law, Kid, they had their like roles to play or whatever. And I still think Laws wanted to learn more about the D's and truth like that. Like he could still have a role to play, but Kid didn't want to be Pirate King. But I guess Kid, I think Brago said this. Where he said he felt like Kid was a lot like Luffy, not identical 1-to-1, but didn't have Luffy's level of luck, and that could just be because Luffy's just kind of a better person and ingratiates himself with people and communities and societies and whatnot, even though he doesn't want to be a hero. Could be just one of those things where the full karma comes back in his favor in some capacity. But for me, the only thing that I've always ever said is I just don't like the way Kid went out if he is done. I've always like my only stipulation is slice him in half. I feel much better if he's cut in two.
Yeah, I don't think the Kid's not done, but the fact is that he was that arrogant, and Killer it was always the Zoro of the group and basically telling him, look,
Killer's pretty level-headed.
Yeah, he's like, we do not want Shanks. And he's like, yeah, I do. And Shanks said no.
You said you disagree. Kid was lucky, just not good enough. I don't agree with that. I think Kid's pretty unlucky.
Kid is not unlucky. He's self-destructive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Because he always throws himself at Yonko and then gets clapped. He did it with Kaido, Big Mom, and he did it with Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks. Just threw himself at them and got
Yonko. He poked the bear rather than.
Didn't he get his lick back against Big Mom because of something though? That was different. One of them were different.
What
did he something from her?
He did not see her the first time he okay because he wasn't to go after her in the first. He wanted to get something out, and then Snack got in his way and he beat his ass.
No, Snack was taken out by Arouge, I think.
Yeah,
that was the second time he got his ass. Then he got demoted for that.
I think Oda.
Oh damn, Punk.
To a point, Oda did this in a way that, like, nah, you're not wrong. Because some of the 11 captains, right? Some of them did, as you said, they tried to climb the mountain and they peaked. X-Drake, Hawkins, Rouge, these guys are not making Apu. These guys aren't making it. They peaked.
And some people are early bloomers.
Right, exactly. So
at 16 in high school, you nice, but by the time you're in the league, you're on the bench.
Exactly. So now we're like, not everybody's going to be a Kobe or a Michael. It's all good, you know. But at the end of the day, I still think that Kid, Law, and Luffy are all in that dream team level. It's just that, as I said, Law is the most passive. He's the one to make the calculated decision. He's the tactician. He's going to make the best of a bad situation every time. Luffy is gunning for it, full steam ahead. But he also has his counselors in Nami and Zoro and people like Robin, Jinbei, people to actually rein him in. Kid has that in Killer but doesn't listen. So he's like an unabated Luffy. And he is self-sabotaging. He's basically Luffy if he didn't have the Straw Hats. That's all Kid is.
I don't know if that's true
Luffy.
because we never see or hear Killer advise Kid not to do. Just
that's right.
Like, I'm right behind.
He tells him no, but then he goes, "Yeah, fuck you, Killer." All right, Killer basically says, "Captain, absolutely not. Fuck you." Okay, and that's the end of it. So you're right, Pat. Like that, and that's the problem is that Kid is Luffy without the Straw Hats. Because
I think Luffy is more self-aware.
I think Kid and Luffy have a lot of commonality and overlap. I've said that so many times in stream, but I do think they're rather different. It was just I actually I agree with what Haku ended up saying. Like maybe it's not a luck thing. It's more of a self-destructive thing where I do still think that Kid and Luffy tend to just kind of go towards their goal by somewhat beating their head against the wall until they get through it. But I think Luffy's charisma, disposition, good nature, and things like that are the extra intangibles and tidbits that help him get over the top. I forgot to mention this earlier, and I'll say this, right? One of the reasons I found the Admiral's death to be incredible is because they tried to save him, which means he was dying but not dead. Why do I say that's important? Think about the many times if Luffy didn't have pretty much immediate medical attention, he would have been in even more danger. Where that saved his life. A blood transfusion from Jinbei. Chopper patching him up. Law using his ability after overexerting himself, getting the injection of adrenaline, then getting magma to the chest, all of that. The fact that they tried to save him and couldn't, to me, means something. That means a lot. And I say that because Kid, I'm getting what you're saying with the Kid doesn't have the crew. Where Kid's crew to me is kind of fraudulent. It's aside from Killer, but Killer's not a doctor. Killer even took a part of the blow that was meant for Kid from Shanks because he got in the way, right?
Yes.
Whereas I feel like even if this happened to Luffy somehow when he fell in the water, his crew would have came through for him in that moment and saved him, and then he would have tried to learn from it. I don't know. It's hard to say. But
no,
all I could really say, speak for myself, is be on a very personal level. I think Kid deserved to go out in a little bit of a better way after what he had just accomplished in Wano, in tandem with Law. I understand. But it's the hype Shanks. I get it. I get it. It's the hype. It's Shanks.
It's not about hype and Shanks. My whole thing is this argument is only relevant if Kid is down and out.
Fair enough. He might be alive.
So if Kid comes back.
Oh yeah, Luffy eating the poison fish and Reiju just being there happened to suck the poison out of him.
Yeah. See, Luffy ends up getting those MC almost plot armor recoveries. Kid didn't, but also Kid once again is self-destructive, as I already pointed out. He's already self-destructive, and the fact that he went out, he thought we took out Big Mom and Kaido. No, you didn't. It was a tag team fucking thing, and then he thought he could go against the strongest Yonko alive, and he found out.
Yeah.
Killer warned him against it. It is what it is. He, as I said, it's all about that. He's self-destructive, but I don't think Kid's dead.
Okay.
I do think that both Kid and Law will still be relevant in the story. I think they're at a place now where they will be relevant to the story moving forward, but they're no longer One Piece candidates. For me,
Okay.
I have viewed the One Piece candidates as just 12 people ever since we got that one big 2-page spread where
Shamrock
Vegapunk says
silhouetted?
it's yeah,
Okay.
he says it all depends on who finds the One Piece, and we have 12 characters there. We have the current 4 Yonko, Dragon, Sabo, Garling, the silhouette of Shamrock, Emu, Akainu, somebody else I'm forgetting,
Shamrock
and Kobe.
want the One Piece?
You know what? You saying that also just reminded me to just say this real quick back to Nepu piece. It is interesting that every one of the Yonko, except quote unquote Buggy, I'll get to him in a second, have a special lineage, right?
True.
Figurlin, Shanks,
I also think it's interesting
Garp,
that
Dragon, Luffy, Xebec,
man.
Rocks.
if we view those 12,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
If we view those 12 as the One Piece candidates that are left, it's interesting that 3 of them are family from the Figurlin family. You have Garling, Shamrock, and Shanks. And then 3 more of them are, oh, well, yeah,
From the
3 more
Monkey
of them
family?
are Dragon, Sabo, and Luffy. So you have like a father and 2 sons from 2 different lineages. Of course, Sabo is not a biological son, but he was actually raised by Dragon, and Luffy considers him a
Yeah.
brother.
And they
So it's
all
like-
represent the same thing, so that's why they're all there.
So it's like half of the remaining One Piece families come from 2 separate father and pair of sons groupings.
But I'll just say,
I mean,
right now, Buggy's the outlier, unless we do think that Xebec is his father too, and then they all have a little nepotism piece for the emperors, which is interesting. But like, here's the thing, it bothered me for a while. I got over it a little bit in Wano when I learned the family tree for Zoro. I'm like, ugh, I really wanted you to be a random from East Blue. I think that's so much more raw. But it is what it is. But this is something that's pretty consistent, I would argue, with a lot of Eastern storytelling to some degree, where important characters and the main characters always come from some type of special lineage and bloodline or whatever. Like, I had recently learned about a week ago that Gash Bell got a sequel. Right? Zatch Bell. I don't know if am I spoiling anybody? Has anyone here read or seen Zatch Bell already?
I don't really care if you spoil it, but I just watched the anime on TV when I was a kid. That's all my knowledge of it.
Like Zatch is the so every 1,000 years demon kids come to the world and they fight with their partners to become the new demon. Last one standing is the new demon king. Zatch is the son of the previous demon king. It's just like one of those things that just happened to happen, you know, like, and I guess you got to make peace with it, you know. Because it did bother me for a while, but I'm like, at least if we're going to do this, he started to do it with multiple characters, and it's consistent, and everyone's got a special lineage in their own right. So we'll just see who got the best blood.
But
That's why, to me, I really don't mind if Buggy is Rox's kid, because to me it's like Oda's always just drawn all these crazy connections between characters whenever it suited him. So to throw out that connection, I feel like is totally fine with me.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me.
Talking about this, like, I know for a fact that last time we were on a podcast together, Naya, we talked about this, and the fact that the whole argument towards, it's all bloodlines, it's not inherited will anymore, which is the premise of One Piece. No, it's still inherited will, because Roger, Joy Boy, and Luffy are the inherited will, and they do not have a connection. Garp and Dragon go down there, but Garp is different from Dragon, who is different from Luffy, in the most, like, right there with your main character, so your argument falls apart. It's still about inherited will. The will of D is still an inherited will. You still have your inherited will argument and your message and the idea that, you know, you can create, like, Fast and the Furious, it's all about family. You can still do all that found family shit in One Piece. Making Xebec Blackbeard's dad and stuff like that does not destroy that whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because there's a lot of cases of the children just not inheriting their biological parents' will, because it's like, Ace inherited Whitebeard's will, not Roger's. Luffy didn't inherit Dragon or Garp's will. He inherited Shanks's will, which in turn is kind of Gold Roger's will, from what we know at least so far. Sanji inherited Zeph's will, not Judge's will. Yamato inherited Odin's will, not Kaido's. So we have a lot of that where it's not like they're inheriting their biological parents' will, even if they do have an important biological parent.
Exactly, but once again, we're talking about the people, the majority of people who...
Lizard mentioning Sabo inheriting Dragon's will instead of his biological parent. Or you could say it too, last arc with Bonnie. Bonnie inherited Kuma's will rather than whoever her potential celestial dragon father is.
Yeah.
Pat, you were
by the way, one of the
hold on.
saddest things ever.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
That was it.
No, finish your thought.
I said that was one of the saddest things ever.
I thought to keep going. Pat, I thought you were going to say something earlier.
Yeah, I was trying to say with the buggy that at first I wasn't too keen on the idea of Buggy having sort of special lineage, whatever. But then I was like, you know what? It's a lot of people in One Piece that have special. That doesn't really mean anything. It's all about what you do with it. So it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going back through the Wano flashbacks, like with Odin and stuff when he was on the ship, talking to Roger and Whitebeard. Saw, like, in the anime, I can't remember if it was in the manga or not, but there's this one point where Buggy's like, why do you always call me second son?
Jito, yes. Jito, yes.
Yeah. And I was like, bruh. Like, there's no way.
You're right.
There's no way.
What confuses me is that for many kingdoms and empires ruled through lineage, they end up destroyed because greatness has left the lineage a long time ago. So in a story about taking down the biggest empire, why do every main character in the story validate the ruling through lineage idea? Do you get what I'm saying? No, rephrase that. say it. Restructure that sentence. I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say.
I think he's saying that some empires and civilizations are ruled through like monarchy.
Yeah. So
over time, within the monarchy, like talent fades, but like talent will always fade if it's not cultivated.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Luffy's not like a king or a sovereign, at least of a nation. He's just somebody's aspiring with a dream and stuff like that. So, but I get what you mean from the kingdom and monarch standpoint. That makes sense.
Yeah, this is essentially the Game of Thrones argument. Is the whole, oh, wait a minute now. Like, we had Targaryens, we had Starks, and we had Baratheons stuff. It's like, why don't we elect someone who can't have children, and we're not going to follow that the son of the king becomes the next king? We'll vote you as a king. We're going to start what's called, quote-unquote, a democracy, and we'll vote in the next good person, whether they're the son of the king or not, and go from there.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to say.
I'm also letting you guys know I removed. I'm not doing the island question. I'm gonna save that for another day. But I wanted to circle back to something you said, Haku, about Ace. I think you said something about Ace not inheriting his dad's will or whatever. But I remember there being a line of One Piece saying Whitebeard intended to try to make him the king like his father before him. Do you think if Ace had lived longer and learned more about Roger, he would have came around just a little bit more? Or do you think that he always would have been on the path that he's on right now and trying to make Whitebeard king?
Oh, that's tough. I think that even if he learned more about Roger and didn't hate Roger anymore, I still think he just respected Whitebeard so much that he still would have viewed Whitebeard as his father. And even if he did, set himself up as the king of the new era, even if he did that, I think he would have done it for Whitebeard, like in the spirit of what Whitebeard wanted, rather than doing it because of Roger. He would have done it because of Whitebeard. Because even if, like, he was saying he wanted to make Whitebeard the king of the era, Whitebeard was already kind of somewhat the king of the era, and, like, he didn't have super crazy too much longer to live anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like with Ace, I think he still had a little bit more maturing to do because he was still relatively young when he died. Right? It's like what, one.
Yeah. 20
So
something.
I feel like he wasn't in his prime yet because there's always like a couple of things about Ace that I always like. The first is people make it a habit to talk about how strong. Like even before he had it, he was saying that I never once Ace fight. And like granted, I know they were kids, but still, that's still pretty big. Um, you got people like Shanks and that Ace is powerful, he's still growing in strength. Whitebeard choosing to make Ace successor, being made a division commander so young. I feel like he had been able to like sure mentally and physically probably would have seen a different light, would have been perceived a little different. Because even in Marineford, like I'm not totally convinced that I kind of would have been able to kill Ace in battle because he killed him because he was protecting Luffy. And if he was able to kill him, it would have been extremely difficult.
I think Akainu would have won.
I'm not saying he would have lost. I'm saying killed.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Ben Beckman was 100% right about Ace. He wasn't serious, kind of off topic. But if Ace had lived, the Payback War would not have happened because the Whitebeard pirates would have been more focused on grooming Ace for being the next Pirate King. They only crashed out because their president feature was cut out with the deaths of Ace and Whitebeard, and I totally agree with that. I think they would have channeled their energy more into trying to make Ace someone worthy of being followed or something of the sort. I do think they would have lost some members for sure, though. I don't think everyone was staying because some of them were going to be more indebted to Whitebeard, but especially the ones who really knew Ace and were closer to him. I definitely agree with that. I like that take, Lizard. Well said.
Yeah, like the division commanders like Vista, Marco, Jozu, they would have been the ones to like push Ace forward.
A side note.
I agree with Pat on that.
Remember, Ace took over the division that Odin left.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Side note. It was left vacant ever since.
The longer we go through the story, the more Whitebeard starts suffering the Hiruzen issue, where to make ideas fit the story, you end up making a beloved character look bad. I don't think Whitebeard's look bad.
No,
I don't think he's been perfect, but
that goes along the same thing that, this question does the argument that I did, that Garp and Whitebeard did fail in the sense of not pushing back against Ace's idea about Roger and saying, listen, he wasn't that bad a guy. You know what I mean? They owed it to Roger's memory and to Ace to do so. Maybe not when he was 6, maybe not when he was 8 or 10. By the time he was already an adult or a teenager.
Oh, that's fair. I'm not mad at that take. I think
so.
Garp had a good reason not to because he wanted to be a Marine. And they probably don't put any ideas in his head. But I understand your POV though. You guys have any favorite ships and or boats in One Piece? Like every time you see it, you're like, that ship is so raw. I love it every time that I see it.
A ship.
Yeah.
Oh. Jockey and Rayleigh, 100%.
Oh no, a literal boat. Like, nah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, until you said boat, I was like, this is going to get controversial.
I knew he was talking about boats, and I like to say
I knew it just because I read the notes.
The Polar Tang?
I'm still saying Jockey and Rayleigh.
Yeah, Polar Tang for me too.
Okay.
Red Force is awesome.
Sunny, just because it has like the dial system or whatever with all the different stuff in it.
the Sunny's such an intricately well built ship or whatever. You know what bothers me about it though? It's the size of it. I wish it was bigger. It just gets dwarfed by so many ships. But but then you got the Kuda Basto. So
but remember at the time it dwarfed the Going Merry in size. So this was a massive ship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when things were...
Yonta Maria, just because it has a really funny name.
I was gonna say Whitey Bay's like icebreaker ship is another one that comes to mind that I really like. And this might sound stupid. I think the Saber of Xebec is ridiculously awesome, but the pre-time skip raft they had with the 4 big logs, yo, that moves me.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh my god.
The one that got broken by the knock-up stream. I love that ship. I don't know why. I'm like, yo, you got the biggest logs ever. You slapped 4 together and said, let's go. That is insane to me. I'm not riding on that.
It's 100% Blackbeard because it's so fucking stupid. He's like, yeah, we can do this. No, we can't. Boom. Defeated.
Oh, yeah.
And it's even funnier because he has these like ramshackle ships and stuff when he wants to have like a big devil fruit user crew.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, like he wants to be his dad, and he's just like, and every time we see him, he's just stumbling every single time.
Mm. But yeah, hold on. What are you saying here? Blackbeard shit being a bunch of logs is so funny. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, I always think about that, and I'm like, you could not get me on there. If Ace had been able to recruit Yamato, the Whitebeard Bards would have been on some shit, boy. Oh, that'd have been nice. The Odin thing makes him look bad and contradicts the statement that if Ace died, Whitebeard would still attack him. Joining Rocks and could lead to issues, and maybe him knowing that Blackbeard was Rocks and doing more to make him better. I honestly remember when that argument came up. I forgot what I have a video on it. I forgot what I ended up saying, but I ultimately ended up disagreeing that Odin and Ace held the exact same weight to Whitebeard in that sense. It wasn't a perfect. I don't think ultimately I don't expect Whitebeard to be perfect. No character I expect to be perfect. He's made mistakes just like any man, any woman that in the world. We all make mistakes. I'm not gonna hold it against him. Okay, for Ace, maybe a little bit just because like Ace was like his son, but like Odin, I don't even like Odin like that, so I really don't care. I totally care.
Yeah, to me, Harald is what they wanted Odin to be. Odin feels so forced when it's like, look at how strong this guy is, look how cool he is, all the characters love him. Meanwhile, you introduce Harald, and Harald actually looks cool, actually looks strong, actually looks like he deserves the characters to respect him. Mm-hmm. To me, Harald is what they wanted to do with Odin.
I like Harald, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, but he's not a good father.
Does anyone have any other ships in mind, or we can move on? I don't know if anyone's supposed to think about any other ships, but yeah. Shout out to the four big logs.
The Moby Dick
is
really
Foxy
cool.
ship.
Like,
Foxy ship is great.
That was pretty cool.
Foxy ship is awesome. Garb ship with the big dog on it, I like too. I forgot what it's called right now. It's not coming to me.
Yeah, especially when he jumped off and did Galaxy Impact.
Oh, nobody said.
Food Fox.
Nobody said the Ark Maxim. Brother sailed to the moon.
Oh yeah. Wow, yeah. I'm a fraud. My boy, Enid. Hell yeah.
This is One Piece, not Space Piece. I don't give a fuck.
Give me Moon Piece. I want Moon Piece.
I still think we're getting Moon Piece. I still think we are.
Hell yeah.
Because, hear me out, in the post-time skip, Oda has used every single member of the Worst Generation and every single pre-time skip Grand Line villain, except for Uruj and Eneru, and both of them are sky people. Enel's on the moon, so I feel like we still need to have an arc where those two are relevant, because they're literally the only two that haven't been used in the story so far.
Okay. Yeah.
Trust me, we'll all be 50 before One Piece is even close to ending, so we'll be fine.
Oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. I'd say give or take 7-10 years.
That's almost.
Yeah,
I mean,
I say 3 to 5 islands.
50, so I'm good with it.
I say we have 3 to 5 islands, and who knows if we get some Wano stuff, some of those islands could take over 100 chapters again. I still think we've maybe got the moon, we've maybe got Lodestar, we've got Meriwa at some point, we've got Laugh Tale at some point. That's 4, so something like that.
the last thing I'll just
Those-
say
all
is
these
that
are a little bit the same.
I like the Dreadnought Saber, Don Krieg ship, the original one that got cut up by Mihawk. And I had one more I wanted to. Obviously the Noah, but the Noah we have to see in action when it comes through. I just want to say I've always found it really funny. I don't know if this counts, but like I'm just thinking about even like boats, like Mihawk's dinky boat that he just rides in with his fucking candle.
I was about to say, it's just a coffin that he's floating around in.
Yo, and Ace's like. Mara no Mi controlled like little skateboard, like surfboard thing is awesome too, by the way.
Oh yeah, Ace's fireboard, top one. Yeah.
That was so cool. And remember when he hit it underwater, jumped over, hit him with the flame fist, and landed back on it? I'm like, you guys are insane. You can't swim. I'm not doing that.
Oh, Aokiji's bicycle.
Oh, the billow blower. Smoker.
The bicycle's so good.
Oh, with the bicycle. Don't give a fuck.
Hey,
running on water.
That's what Oda does when he wants to tell you that somebody is him. They travel the seas alone.
Yeah. Is Harujin the most disappointing son in One Piece? That remains to be seen. He's probably gonna get a glow up this arc.
So I like that. I was about to say though, before I move on to answer that, I was about to say I love not really a ship, but the stupid little tank and the noises it makes in the anime that Chopper drives around, like the firing noises it makes. It's so good.
Yeah.
But I like what's being done with Hyrule. They have really built him up a lot this arc. Like this flashback has made me really like Harold, Loki, and Hyrule a lot. And my only problem with it is, let's say we get all this development for Hyrule. Meanwhile, the other like Straw Hat Fleet division commanders, Cavendish became like the first division commander and just hasn't done a thing since. Like I would want them to get developed too.
I'm with it. And okay, speaking of that, Bartholomew's ship just having to like botch Luffy like
the going Luffy senpai.
That's honestly incredibly fun too. Rocks ain't die. He got blasted on the moon and has the King of the Moon with moon hockey. Greatness skip jump 25,000 feet over Harujin. That's crazy. I think again, I'm warming up to him because he's like, I didn't like when he was like, I'm the King of the Giants. I'm like, bro, you stink. You got knocked out by Gear 2 Luffy and Dressrosa. Like I don't like now that it's Luffy, I get it, but I'm like, I'm not fucking with you, bro. Where's Loki at? But I'm like, you know what, Harujin, I'm gonna give you the opportunity, you know. So the jury's still out on him, but I don't dislike him though. I don't dislike him, but
I do feel like Oda's cooking because we've gotten like, I think at least 2 pages so far where they've said like some big thing like, oh, we need to go stop the God's Knights or whatever, and we've gotten a shot of like Luffy with Loki and Hyrule on either side of him. Like we've had at least 2 pages that have set those 3 up like a trio or something. So I think there could be a chance. We have 3 God's Knights right here that we could have Luffy fight one of them, Loki fight one, and Hyrule with one. Now obviously I think Hyrule would need some help from like Zoro and Sanji now that those 2 have gone off. So they might not be like solo fights, but I do think that Oda's been setting stuff up with Luffy, Loki, and Hyrule as like a trio this arc.
I'm with it. And I think there's something that Luffy can just naturally sense and feel with maybe his observation hockey within Loki, that he knows that deep down he's just not a bad person. So like I just gotta say, like Loki, like I've always felt that one of Oda's best strengths is making you like characters very quickly, and I thought he kind of, I wouldn't say he lost it, but he was inconsistent for a while. Like it didn't work with Odin for me the way it worked with like Roshinante, Corazon, right? I feel like with this arc, with a lot of the new characters you're introducing, I've taken a liking to them pretty quickly. Your King Heralds, your Lokis.
I agree. I was even kind of slow in Egghead for some of the art characters to start liking them, and even some I'm still kind of about. Like
I'll never like Vegapunk.
It's not like it's not like I cared about Pythagoras particularly, but in Elbaf I've come around to like most of the art characters.
You like York?
Roto,
I know about you.
Yeah. Oh man, love
Freckles?
York. Like I will never hate Vegapunk. The man's a genius. He invented York. But
That's like me saying Gustang is the greatest because they gave me Tiara even though she went outside.
But God, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like even some of the side characters, like Roto at first was maybe a little bit annoying with the castle stuff, but then he teamed up with like Luffy and Nami to go explore Oest Castle and was like really funny with Luffy and Nami. So it's like even Roto won me over pretty quick. Like I have liked the art characters here a lot.
I like the guy with the
Ronja?
shield. I like him.
Yeah, is that
I remember his name.
Goldberg, I think?
He's got the talking
yeah, I think that
shield.
one's Goldberg.
The homie shield.
But I liked even in one chapter I was like, Ronja's the goat. When Ronja's like, she's the kid who was like, yeah, just let them kill me, let them throw me off the branch or whatever, so that everybody else can be saved. And I was like, like she won me over already.
I felt so bad. I like Colin too. I keep calling him colonoscopy, but I like him. I like that kid.
Yeah, I have been going with the Cologne pronunciation.
Okay.
I know some people have done Colin. It's written as colon.
I know, that's why I just go colonoscopy. Which is unhinged. Do you guys think that at some point soon? Well, I say soon. When do you guys think the Admirals are really gonna start to get active? And do you think they're gonna end up getting maybe? Do you think they'll live up? Do you think they'll live up to expectations, or do you think it's gonna depend on which admiral it is? Like, do you see each admiral as completely different? Do you think they're all comparable? And I know there's been a lot of Yonko versus Admiral talk. I don't necessarily care about that, but like when when Oda's ready to finally let them loose and showcase them, do you think that they'll kind of live up to expectations? Or do you think the God Knights and like Akainu and stuff will go ahead?
I'll keep mine short. Kizaru, I think, is hiding some stuff and is going to pull out some cool stuff. Fujitora, I personally like, so I hope he does some cool stuff. Aramaki is a fraud, and I don't see him doing anything.
Okay.
I think it depends on the situation. If they can first come united, because they got some fighting going on, and on top of that, they have like weird little seniority thing at the moment. Being the longest tenured there. And we got former admirals running around who's on doing Lord knows what right now. So we just gonna go with the safe answer, case by case, see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm following that idea that each admiral, regardless of being conscripted or what have you, obviously the OG admirals are more powerful than like Fujitora and Green Bull and stuff like that, but I mean it is a case by case basis, as Pat said, so we're just gonna have to wait and see how it realistically goes down.
Are you guys currently? Well, I guess I'll say what's like without agendas. What's like your current thoughts on like the admirals? And it's not to just be from a power standpoint, like competency, thematic role, combat strength, all of those things. Like, are you impressed, underwhelmed, somewhere in the middle, or is the jury? Are you still waiting? Like, you're being patient.
I'll give a verdict on all of them right now. With Akainu personally, and this might surprise you guys because I actually hate him, but I think I've been impressed with the way he's been maneuvering post time skip. Moving the Marine base to New World to show these pirates like, hey, you can't keep doing whatever you want, and then having the discipline to actually stay at the home base because he's needed there instead of just going out and doing whatever he wants to do. Giving out orders, understanding like, hey, like I take orders from higher up, I just gotta grin and bear it. So I think I've been impressed with the way he's handled his newfound position.
Okay.
With Kizaru, I know you weren't impressed, but I think I personally was impressed with the way he utilized the Pika Pika no Mi with like the Pika Bunshins with all the clones and stuff. The way he was able to like traverse across Egghead with the clones to escape from Luffy's line of sight and get to the other Straw Hats at the stratosphere. I think that was really cool and impressive. And I also got a chance to actually see like the human side of him because he has like unclear justice, so I never really knew where he fell on the morality spectrum. And for him to constantly closed his eyes whenever he was about to attack Bonnie and giving Luffy food. I got a higher opinion. He's already now done before.
Mm-hmm.
Kuzana's get your head in the game. That's all I gotta say to him.
He pissing down his leg.
Yeah, Fujitora I think has been a standout. Like since day one, he stood on business. Probably the most humane out of all the admirals. I really appreciate like him lowering his head to the citizens of Dressrosa. So like, hey, yeah, we fucked up, and like Japanese culture, lowering your head to somebody is a huge deal. For somebody of his position, doing that to regular citizens, I thought that was one of the standout moments of the entire post. I hope he's just a fucking loser, bro. I hope he's the next admiral.
I hope it was his daddy that Xebec bodied. I'm kidding. I know he came to the draft. I was gonna ask you guys this, because I do think we all kind of agree with Akainu Sakazuki's kind of role and rise to power and competency, but I actually feel like he is getting frustrated with all the politics, where he just wants to apprehend criminals and pirates. I think he's going to snap. I think at some point he's either just going to stop listening, or he will throw a Daifunka at one of the girls. Say, I swear I see it coming. It's coming.
I think that's reasonable.
It's just bubbling slowly. And even like, all right, we're going to do this. Like, actually, no. You're not going to do this because they're going to like spin some lie because some Nika shit or whatever. And Akaina's going to be like, Daifunka! Just melt.
He's going to be like, it's too late for that. Because it really is just too late for all that stuff with like the fake world government stuff. Like all of this information's out there now. Mm-hmm. The world government has been made to look silly and ineffective so much. It like somebody brought up when we had the reveal of Rocks, they were like, okay, add another to the tally of the world government being really fucking stupid. They let Rocks' son be one of the Shichibukai and hang out in Mariwa. Like, that's just another mark against them.
Okay, I'm with you. Hold on, I'm with you. I'll just offer this one little pushback with just this specific scenario. Even after Rocks did what he did, and I don't know if Imu brought it up or whatever, they still were like, okay, if you go to Hachinosu and take it over, we'll give you this money. Like, actually, you know what? No, that makes him dumb. Never mind. I guess they're just always willing to like work with anyone if they can, I guess, achieve a goal. But like, yeah, no, they corrupt.
Or maybe they just really underestimate everybody else that much. Like they've had control for 800 years, and maybe they're just
complacency.
Like, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, even if we let Rocks go, what's he gonna do?
Yeah. Okay.
But for my thoughts on the Admirals right now as characters, I do think that Akainu hasn't really, like, Oda hasn't had a place to put Akainu in the story, really, post-time skip. Like, there hasn't really been, like, do you expect him to just rock up to Wano? Like, narratively, I don't think there's a bunch for him to have done, but I think that when we do finally get into him doing stuff, I think Akainu's going to actually be a really good character. There's just enough, like, groundwork laid that I think when we really get into it, it's going to be good. And I think with the scene at the end of Egghead with Kizaru, I think that Oda's really cooking more stuff there with both Kizaru and Akainu, and I think that, you know, there's still more to come for both of their characters. So I'm feeling good about the two of them. But again, I really, really like Fujitora. I just don't know how much more there is for him to do for the story or not. And Aramaki is honestly kind of lost me already, to tell the truth.
He's such a fucking loser.
Yeah, he's just, every scene we've seen of him, he's just looked bad. He looked bad invading Wano because all he did was get scared of Momonosuke and Yamato and then get chased off by Shanks, who wasn't even around.
Wi-Fi
he was long
hockey.
distancing him. And then we go to the, the Reverie flashback stuff, and he's getting handled by the revolutionary commanders.
Yeah, I think Aramaki is the one that no one has faith in. I think competency-wise, they're all bad outside of Fuji. Akainu was very competent in action pre-time skip, but all of his hockey is used to find off paperworks. Oh, okay, got you. He's just doing paperwork. Strength-wise, they're not showing much because they're not allowed to. But I think two of them will fight Zoro and Sanji, and that rarely lets you look great as a fighter because of how little focus their fights take. Aokichi got fake dominated by Garp. We can't power scale much from that, even though I think Garp is stronger, not factoring stamina. He's gonna hit the mustache.
Fake
Good.
What does he mean by that?
Some people, I guess some people think that Garp kind of smoked Kuzan, but Kuzan was like mentally nerfed or whatever. But because I don't know. But yeah.
Look,
Something that
we've talked about this before. These guys are their prime, which means like their strength didn't really diminish all that much. They can't go for.
Yeah.
Something that chat.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, you can go.
I was gonna say that you go from being able to fight for 6 days to 6 minutes.
Right. Something that
Like
chat bringing up the.
Shit, sorry.
You're good. You're good. You can go.
I was just gonna say in Garth time he could probably reel off like 5 Galaxy Impact.
Right.
Do like one.
Like he was talking about how much weaker he's gotten, and yet he's nuking islands.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, do you see how high you were in the sky, dude?
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I was gonna bring up chat bringing up the Gorosei made me think something I've said a bunch that I'm excited for. I don't think we're gonna see it anytime soon. Is we are kind of filling out. I think we have like 10 or 11 out of the 20 founding families right now. So we know that the world government was founded after Joy Boy's crew fought the crew of 20 who would end up founding it, right? So I can't wait until we get to see them, because that means that out of that 20, there is like an original Figureland, and there's an original Don Quixote. Like, is the original Don Quixote going to be like an even cooler Doflamingo? Like, I want to see what these original 20 were like whenever we see... We've got to, at some point, see a flashback of them fighting Joy Boy's crew, right?
I would hope so. The voice entry needs to be seen and shown, so yes.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt.
For the strongest pirate in history, as of right now, Mr. Joy of Boy. Or maybe it's Davy Jones, I don't know.
That's actually like the thing that I'm looking forward to. Not what the One Piece is, but like what exactly that they had race from history.
Yeah. I'm excited for that too. Yeah, you guys have any final comments, questions, or concerns? Chat, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. The only last thing I really have for you guys right now is like, what are your favorite Luffy moments?
Like in general, overall.
Yeah, you don't have to like give me like, oh, this is
so
the best
many.
one. I mean, I can start off if you want. Drum Island, climbing the snow mountain with Sanji in his mouth and Nami on his back will always move me. I get goosebumps every time I watch it. Just seeing him go scale that entire mountain, making it to the top, and the first thing he's like, "Yo, just save my friends. Don't worry about me. I'm alright." And he almost fell off too, and Chopper caught him. That moment always resonates with me. I got some dumb ones that I've always liked. Like Luffy trying to copy Kaku and jumping off the building and just fucking up and falling in the water. in Water 7. I don't know why. That just kills me every time that I see it or think about it. Like, I'll just get to a burst into laughter, and I'll leave it at this one too. Luffy Sky Island song. Stupid ass Sky Island song kills me every time I hear it.
Every time, one of my favorite running gags is whenever he meets somebody, and just immediately, because somebody says something, he's like, oh, so they're a good person. Like, he does it with, I think, Robin and with Bellamy, and then I think he's even done it this arc with Loki, where he's just like, oh, so you're a good person.
Yeah. Or do you poop?
Or, oh my god, I just got...
that.
Recently to one of the funniest moments where he's leaving Water 7 and he shouts out to the ship and he's like, Grandpa, Kobe, and I'll see you guys again. I'm going. And I was like, you forgot my name, didn't you? He just says Kobe and then he pauses and then he's like, I'll see you guys again or whatever. Just leaves him out.
Y'all talked about Davy Jones being the Blackbeard of the Void Century. I wouldn't call him the Blackbeard of the Void Century. I kind of think Davy Jones is probably the flip side to Joy Boy. And Joy Boy's path of liberation and freedom. He maybe Davy Jones was subjugation and just like, I don't know, power or whatever you want to call it. That's kind of my take for now.
I do think there's a shot. So hear me out here. We basically know that Nika in the First World was originally there for the end of the First World. Then Joy Boy had the Nika fruit and was there for the end of the Second World. And now Luffy is basically like the third coming and has the Nika fruit. Davy Jones, like for pirate slang, was slang for the devil. So was there an original devil in the First World? And then Davy Jones was maybe the devil in the Second World? And if Emu has the devil fruit, Emu potentially, maybe Emu was Davy Jones, or Emu took Davy Jones' power. And if Blackbeard is going to be the parallel to Luffy, then the theory of Blackbeard taking Emu's fruit probably has to happen at some point. So then Blackbeard ends up being the devil to Luffy's god.
I see what you're saying. That's interesting. That mural was still one of the craziest things I ever saw, by the way. That mural moved me, bro.
All this time, I thought the Void Century was the only time that, erased. Come to find out, they did this war already.
Insanity.
Oh.
Lizard said, I loved when Luffy was in the prison at Wano, and when he was able to escape, he just said he's always been free. Shit hit so hard. Yeah, agreed. That was hard.
Oh, one of my favorite Luffy moments is when he's going to start the alliance with Law, and then Robin's like, piracy always ends up in betrayal. When they make alliances, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna betray me?" He's like, "No." And then he's cheats into the rest of it.
You just start sparkling, like he's. I could tell you the moment I became a Luffy fan.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that the first moment, because, and I've said this many times on Naya's podcast before, is that Luffy did not speak to me. Because I was growing up, I'm 34 right now, so obviously I was growing up when we had Cool. We had Goku, and we had Vaughn, and we had fucking, Kenshin, and we had Ichigo and stuff. So going up with Luffy, it was like, oh, another dumbass, another ass catch from another Naruto sort of idea. What sold me on Luffy, is still my favorite moment because it's what got me into One Piece, was when Nami in the Arlong Park thing. I know it's supposed to be a Nami moment, but really it made me treat Luffy like this isn't just Will Ferrell, Owen Wilson, Adam Sandler in a fucking anime. This guy actually is serious. He's not just an idiot for idiot's sake. And it's what sold me on One Piece, because the whole time I was watching One Piece, I'm like, why the fuck is Zoro not the main character? That's what I questioned the entire time. And until I saw the Arlong Park, when he just, put the hat on Nami's head, I didn't get Luffy. And then I got Luffy.
You know what's funny about that? I did not like Zoro at all for the most part of East Blue. I didn't like Zoro. He didn't move
Really?
me.
It's so funny. We have 3 different answers. When I was a kid, I really thought Sanji was so lame.
I thought Sanji was the coolest, bro.
Sanji. I thought he was so lame, and I didn't really appreciate him until I was older.
Sanji was my favorite character in East Blue.
So funny how we all go through that same, like, we've all been around the same block, but it's like, we got different opinions.
I never disliked Luffy, but I can tell you the moment where I'm like, oh, nah, he's him. And that's versus Don Krieg, when he's like, all right, enough of this. He just starts running across the bridge, and he's like, stupid kid, you know, machine gun. Luffy just took the hits. He should have put the spike shield up, the cape, but Luffy said, I don't care. Bow! I'm like, all right. That's my guy. That's my guy now. That for me, for Zoro, Zoro won me over during Whiskey Peak. That's when he won me over. I guess the 100 bounty hunters. It really moved me. That's when I'm like, you know what?
That's a fair statement.
I would say though, the first like, hold on.
How will you not
Hold
won
on,
over
hold on,
by the
hold on,
whole
hold
rice
on,
ball
hold on.
thing?
Hold on. The rice fall?
Okay. Yeah, like at the very beginning when we first met Zoro, the fact that he's this chained up villain, we don't know nothing about him, and a little girl drops a rice ball in the dirt and is like, "No, I need to eat that. Pick that up."
Fuck that little kid. When Zoro threw the cursed sword up and like put his hand over there and then went around it too and said, "I'll take it." That was like the first. I'm like, perhaps I was unfamiliar with your game. But then when Whiskey Pea hit, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, Zoro, I was wrong. And that's how Crocodile, and it was over for everybody. I never changed. From the day I was 11 till 32 today, Crocodile was my favorite the moment I saw it. I said, oh yeah, that's the guy.
Well, Crocodile is literally what James Bond villains are. So, I mean, he's the culmination of the greatest villains. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Fair.
I always liked Luffy, but I really came to really like him. Really, Baroque was when I really started to like all of the Straw Hats. Because when he was when he saw Sanji eat Gin, and he was like, "Ooh, I found myself a good cook." I was like, "Ooh," that was like really the moment where I liked Luffy and Sanji a lot, like right there. Because Sanji was feeding somebody that was starving, and he was like, "Yeah, I have to pay nothing. So I know what it's like to starve." And Luffy like thinks with his stomach, but he didn't even try the food yet. He was like, "Oh, Sanji is gonna be my cook." So I was like, okay. I was Zoro the moment he put the on. I was like, "Bro, what the fuck? He got to do right?"
Yeah, I would argue most of the Straw Hats sold me on their first interaction because we got so much about their character within the first interaction. The only one who didn't sell me at first and I didn't assume was Frankie.
Oh yeah, I hated Frankie for a very long time.
Yeah,
like, even
I mean,
after you I was still mad at him.
Yeah, I was not in the Frankie boat for a long time. Everyone else, it was like, all right, the first interaction, I'm like, all right, yeah, I can see it, you know. Because Zoro had the rice ball thing, Sanji had the feeding of the one who couldn't pay, or Gin there, blah blah. Like every other character had like in the first like 5 chapters of their introduction, they had this thing. It was like, okay, you're a good person. Like Luffy, as you just said, Luffy always figures that. He's like, oh, you're a good person. It's like, no, he's not. It's like, yeah, he kind of is. And he goes with it. But yeah, Frankie, no.
It's funny because when he built the 1,000 Sunny, I was like, okay, you built a new ship. That's step 1, bitch ass nigga. Like, you gotta earn your keys. I was just so mad at him. I was like, I forget what you did to Usopp, nigga. You put me through a bunch of trauma.
I honestly never thought about it that way, and I think that's so totally fair. But I've always been that person where it's like, if you're not tripping, I'm not gonna trip for you. So when Luffy was like, you started to come around, he was helping us, yada yada, make the alliance with the Frankie family, Galea Company, Straw Hats, whatever, and then like he was helping Robin out and everything. I'm like, Luffy seemed to at this point let it go. I'm gonna let it go, and you know.
No, I'm with you, but I was traumatized, bro. They beat Usopp the fuck down.
Do you want to know one of my first moments of loving Frankie? One of my first moments of loving Frankie is in Thriller Bark when he starts building the bridge and it's like falling apart as he's building it in front of him, so they're just floating across the sky. I thought that was such a good gag.
Yo, when
I was like, yo, he's building a bridge? Okay, that's step 2.
Bro, he put the nunchucks in the stone pillar. I said, dog. That's why.
Oh my god, pirate docking.
Yes, and Robin was like, no.
In the series.
Robin's like, I'd rather, nah. You guys got me fucked up with that one. It's not gonna
I got on his side when he blew up the blueprints for Pluton. I was on his side, but I still wasn't super happy with him. For the longest time, like Pat was saying, it's like he's like everyone else, like, I know, like, now you just said, like, it took a while to get on Zoro's, agenda sort of idea and stuff like that, but you would accept that, like, he didn't actually do anything bad up to that point. But as Pat said, these guys beat the shit out of, and if you liked Usopp at that point, you hate the Frankie family. They're the enemy.
I also remember when Usopp and him were talking during Aqua Luna when he was trying to fix the Mary. Like, even Usopp was just like, whatever, I'm letting it go. Like, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm letting it go too then. That's all. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
It was just a snowball effect because I was like, look, if he didn't beat Usopp's ass, if he didn't steal the money, Usopp wouldn't have left. And if Usopp wouldn't have left, they wouldn't have paid attention when Robin was leaving, and then all this shit. Like, I was like, everything is your fault. I was trying to figure out Frankie. The whole water
and it is true. If Usopp didn't lose the money, things would have been a lot different. Maybe better, maybe worse. But the fact of the matter is, at the time, they got a lot worse.
Fair enough.
One underrated Frankie moment that I've always really, really loved that I never see people talk about is in Dressrosa, where he's talking over the Dendenmushi to Luffy, and he's like, I need to stay here and help the people of Dressrosa. Even if you gotta carry on to the next island or whatever, you can go. I don't want to leave the crew or anything, but I'll catch up eventually. I need to help these people. And I really, really liked that, because it was just showing he didn't want to betray the Straw Hats or anything, but he was like, he saw people that needed help and was like, look, even if I got to get left behind, I want to help these people, even if Luffy and the others don't stay back with me. And I really liked that moment.
It's a good moment too. And I'll add this about Frankie. I was one of those people that kind of cared about utility in your role. I didn't care if you were an expert combatant, but I'm like, if you don't have Nami, these dumbasses will sail into the calm belt and get eaten by Sea King. So I'm like, Frankie's gonna actually be someone who could really fix the ship finally. Like that de-stressed me. Like, I'm like, Usopp's shoddy. Listen, you did what you could, but Usopp's shoddy work wasn't gonna cut it. So like, I like, that's why Brooke bothered me so much, because I'm like, I know you wanted to be a musician for so long, but I'm like, listen, Frankie could play the ukulele, and now that he's like a super cyborg, auto-tune, I don't know, play some digital music.
No.
Hold on. And I'm like, you're a swordsman? You have Zoro. You have a devil fruit you can't even use, so you just sink? I'm like, why do we want him? But he grew on me. He grew on me. Shout out to the Soul King. That's my guy.
Okay. So I was about to argue. I was like, Brooke is awesome. What are you talking about?
No, I like Brooke. It's just at first. And I was much younger, right? So, like, I was way more, like... I didn't have the level of, like, nuance and, like, peeling back. I was just, like... I don't know. It's like cool shit or whatever the case may be.
Oh,
like,
I don't know. I was fucking 17 and I was right on his fucking tails. He was like, he looked at every hot woman and said, I want to see your panties. And I was like, yeah, I'm on board with that. Because I want to see every other girl's panties too, man. I am with you. I relate to you more than anybody else as a 17-year-old. 100%.
Yeah, I was immediately team
Works podcast do not endorse the statement that has just been given. We respect all women.
I was immediately team Brooke. His intro was so good, like immediately going from the like, can I see your panties and all the gags with like Luffy and Nami to then going, oh, should we eat dinner? Basically like pressuring like him making the decision to go eat dinner, and then him and Luffy at the table just screaming, dinner, yeah, over and over again, killed me. Like him and Luffy basically pressuring Sanji into cooking and then shouting while they're waiting for dinner. It was so good.
Yeah.
Or the fact that he turned into this, once again, like the panty joke is one thing, and then of course the skull jokes and whatever. But then he turns into this actual like the Big Mom scene where he's like, he calls Big Mom young lady and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, he actually walks into Whole Cake Island and he's the MVP. He's the one who smashes the Mother Caramel pitcher. He's the one who goes up there and goes, young lady, we did not come here to die, and if it's my fate to fight you, then I will do so and stuff. And it's like, this dude is spitting. Like, it's like, it's like, wait, Brooke was supposed to be, as Naya said, like, there's no utility. We already have a swordsman. We could give Frankie a ukulele. Like, we don't need this guy. And then he shows up and he's balling. It's awesome.
Brooke is unironically one of my top 3 Straw Hats right now. I freaking love, because so many of the Straw Hats I feel like have really been, like Chad is saying, really been like, disappointing post time skip. But Brooke, Oda was cooking with Brooke in Whole Cake Island, and now this arc again, we're getting hints at even more backstory. Like, Brooke stocks are up for me. I am like fully on board with Brooke's story.
Yeah, I would say Chopper, Brooke, and they were probably Straw Hats that I liked immediately, like when I first met them. Like the others took a little bit of time to grow on me. Zoro probably like a second end. Because I was like, you let yourself get chained to this thing, man? And then it was like, you use 3 swords? That sounds so goofy.
Sanji went on his hands, hit a breakdance, and kicked somebody, and that's all I needed. And little cigarette and aura farmer said, that's the guy. That's him. Lizard has a question for us, and this is going to be the last question because I'm ready to sleep. I'm tired. He said, what are y'all thoughts about, according to him, on how disappointing Usopp has been this arc, and do y'all think he's going to turn it around, or is he still going to be a bum? And what I said was he's going to become a giant, like when they said in Little Garden, he's like, oh, I want to look like the Giants. And they're like, yo, you want to be a giant? He's like, no, the bravery. Usopp is going to become a giant. You heard it here first. That's all I got.
I'm just going to say give the arc time, because as I said, Elbaf isn't in my top 5 yet, but it's rising. So give Usopp, give the Usopp arc. Wano was long, Elbaf's going to be long. Give it time. That's all I'm saying.
Let Oda cook. We just started. Relax. It's like Kobe in 02. No, in 2000 when Shaq got off the game, and he's like,
what did Pat? Can I ask you one quick question? What did people expect? They thought, oh, it's the Elbaf arc, so 5 chapters in, all of a sudden, Usopp all of a sudden becomes fucking Rayleigh. You know what I mean? Like, they want to conquer Saki out of his ass. Like, it makes no fucking sense. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let Oda is a long burner. We are literally almost 1,200 chapters into a series. This is not a short story.
Okay, like, you guys are making me want to play Emu's advocate here and slander Usopp, because he has done so much nothing post-time skip that even now, I cannot believe he'll do something until I see it. Pre-time skip, Usopp was either my favorite Straw Hat or second. Like, he was 1 or 2 for me. I loved him being the underdog and getting these moments where he stood up to enemies that were so much stronger than him. I loved that. He was one of my favorites. And then post-time skip, I have hated him. I have said since Dressrosa that he is Ash Ketchum in the post-time skip. The complaint that people would always say when I was a kid or when I was a teen was Ash Ketchum just learns the same lessons over and over again and forgets the same lessons and learns them again. That is post-time skip Usopp. Usopp is the most flanderized character in One Piece. We almost never see him except for him to say, wow, I'm so scared of insert current thing. That is the only thing he ever says 99% of the time. In the few moments we get of Usopp, when he's not just saying, I'm scared of current thing, and that's all he's contributing, when we actually get moments with him, he is learning lessons he already learned pre-time skip. He is Ash Ketchuming it.
I hear you. I want to say this. Remember, for a majority of post-time skip, the Straw Hats were broken up. So Whole Cake lasted about 3 years in real time. We had 3 years where we didn't see Usopp at all. And then with Wano, we had, I think, way too many moving pieces.
Bro, we had the Toad Oil Haku. I didn't move. Let me stop. Let me stop.
We couldn't get any time to actually focus on a Straw Hat in Wano that wasn't named Luffy, Zoro, or Sanji. So I don't really hold that against Usopp because like Wano had the Odin flashback going on, and then it tied into a Roger flashback, and then we got the Scabbards getting their old members back. Time travel with Toki. We got moving pieces from the Beast Pirates, stuff like that. So I was just like, all right, there's too much going on. We were learning about the daimyos of the land. So I was like, okay, Wano is just here to face Kaido, and then we're gonna move on from. I'll give you Egghead. Egghead, he didn't do fuck all. I was kind of disappointed about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like now it's Usopp going just wait.
The only thing Usopp really did post time skip is what Lizard just said. I didn't like when he told Nami to not say Luffy wouldn't become pirate.
Yeah, I hated that so much.
Yeah, no,
because he already had a moment where he defended Luffy in Alabasta when he was fighting Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. Four.
Mr. Four.
Yeah. And after they laughed at Luffy's dream or whatever, and he's like, Chopper, there comes a time where like a man can't run away from a fight.
And people defend it like people defend it like, oh, he's just trying to protect Nami. It's like, no, you should know that this is something that you have to do.
That was a bad moment. I'm going to go a little bit on. I'm going to play the gray bridge here, and I'm going to say I agree with Pat, and I agree with you as well. I'm going to say you're both making really good points because the fact of the matter is that Usopp has not done a lot post time skip, and he has done a little bit of the Ash Ketchum shit, but let's let Oda give. By the end of Elbaf, if he hasn't done anything, then I'm gonna go, yeah. But I could also make the argument that what has the character development of Frankie been post time skip? What is the Nico Robin?
Frankie to me is the role player that I can always count on to give me 15 points and 10 rebounds no matter what. Like, he's just such a solid role player. Like, he may not take over a game, but he never doesn't contribute in a way that's important. And that's why I always like Frankie.
I don't think he's even comparable to Usopp here. I don't think it's even comparable.
My point is that they, like, you're asking for character development, and he literally has been stagnant. Is similar to Usopp. You say like Usopp, like, and this is just my my pushback is that Usopp is this whole, oh well, he cries when things go shitty, and then he runs away and stuff like that. And yeah, that's always been Usopp's character. But Frankie, what has Frankie done different? How has Frankie evolved and sort of idea? Like, you're expecting Usopp to evolve, but Robin hasn't evolved. Frankie hasn't evolved. How is Brooke evolved? Like, none of them post time skip have actually ever had like evolution or character development in the strictest of senses. So it's sort of like, well, what did you expect from us? I suppose once again, and I'm agreeing in the fact that when we got the pre-time skip to post-time skip and he got the abs and stuff, and he was like, I'm not gonna be part of the loser trio anymore, I'm gonna be a brave warrior, and then he wasn't. That was really annoying, but I got over that in Fishman Island, you know.
Okay, but I think the big difference is that Usopp has not changed much as a character. The Straw Hats as a whole really haven't changed much as characters. Their characters are pretty solid, but Usopp hasn't changed much, but also hasn't really done anything. Frankie hasn't changed much, but he did the same as the other Straw Hats and was also funny. He had the funny Tom's brother coding scene in Fishman Island. Mm-hmm. From there, he had a 1v1 fight in Big Moment against Senor Pink. Then he had another fight and 1v1 fighting moment against Sasaki, but he also
fixed the ship after they came back and Big Mom done fucked the ship up.
Yeah, he repaired the entire, like, fleet of ships in Wano 2. So it's like, he was off screen, but he was repairing the entire fleet of ships for the samurai. Meanwhile,
he has the strongest bike in the world at the Yonko level. Hurt Big Mom.
And when we finally see Straw Hats, we finally see our first Straw Hats to fight against a Yonko. It's Sanji and Frankie fighting Saturn.
Also, Frankie was like, we're gonna be, our captain's gonna be king of the pirates for one day, right? It's like, it's a Yonko? Fuck it, we fighting. And I'm like, okay. Bike hockey? Yeah, you had the bike hockey, bro. Frankie with the bike hockey. Rode on Big Mom.
God.
Bike hockey,
and just so we're clear, this was all devil's advocate because I do agree that Usopp did. Like, Usopp, like I agree with Pat, but and he and I are the same opinion, but we do need like in Elbaf, we do need Usopp to do what you guys are complaining about. We do need Usopp to step up his game 100%. Whatever form that takes, it does need to happen by the end of Elbath. I'm not saying that. I'm just playing devil's advocate on the argument on the other side. But yeah, Elbath is still, as I said, it's climbing. Let's let Oda cook, and let's wait.
Yeah, let him cook. I'm telling you, Kobe in 2000, bro.
Oh, any final statements, comments, concerns for the people, y'all?
Yeah, Sanji best straw hat pussy.
Just as Zoro always stronger than Sanji, just to piss off Pat.
Pat doesn't care about
Hey, what's Scott Gavon say? He was second.
that.
I don't think that's to me, the argument between like Zoro and Sanji, to me Zoro has always been the stronger character, and when it comes to just pure cool moments, the cooler character. But really, other than the cool moments, I think that Zoro is one of the characters in the Straw Hats that kind of has the least going on character-wise, other than just being cool, whereas I feel like Sanji has a lot better writing as a character.
That's fair.
So I feel like Zoro is stronger and cooler, but for me, Sanji is the better written character.
I think even the cooler part is debatable, but that's it.
Actually, I'm gonna just, even though as the guy who says that Zoro is stronger than Sanji, I'm gonna concede that point. Sanji does have a lot more going character writing wise. Yeah.
Ass Armin is wild. I can't remember. I think I was with Virgo one time, and they're like, "Bro, how did?" I know it doesn't work that way. Like you have to be in danger, and either you train your Logia to reflexively turn into your element after training it for a long time, but you could choose not to. But the idea that Dofi hockeyed his butt up to sit on Smoker's chest and Puck Hazard was always hilarious to me till this fucking day.
Yeah.
That's why Dofi's the GOAT, man.
That butt hockey.
Dofi's too good.
All right, you guys, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. We will get another one going soon. This was fun. I needed this. It was good. It's cathartic, but I am tired now. I need to sleep. Also, my girlfriend's getting antsy. So
you go take care
Yeah, I don't
of
blame
that.
you. It's after midnight for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, give her a good night kiss from all of us. Trust me, it'll go over well.
All right. She would actually appreciate that. She'd be like, "Oh my god, thanks guys." But, my final statement is never forget that Crocodile's the GOAT, and Xebec could beat Joy Boy. Goodbye. It would help me out a lot and do my heart a lot of good if some of you guys who are not on the Patreon would consider pledging or maybe becoming a channel member. But shout out to the Patreon gang. Shout out to the CBLs. That is the certified BAM lovers. Appreciate y'all. But for the tier 2, we got the Priests of Fire. They might be the real CBLs. That's Brilliant Gang. And big shout out to the 5th Zen Gods, my tier 3 pledgers. Shout out to Agrona Vitera, Big Chief, Gray, Johnny Rogers, Katan, Lucky Roo, Muzaka, Naz Riley, Scobe, Simi, Zyler Scotty. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I'm going to have some sugared sand today. Oh yeah, that's a real meal.